picture of you.
Just I'll keep talking.
There you go.
Got me? Okay. Turn my ears up a little bit. I don't hear me yet. Check. You have me coming in?
There you go. You're on a different mic.
Okay, I'll keep talking. Okay, here we go. We're getting there. Okay, how's that? There we go. Fantastic. Thank you, Lynette. It is 6:01 here in the region. Chuck Pullen with you on a Monday morning. We are doing our best to put things back together. We are still without internet here at WGOB, so we're trying to see what works and what doesn't. I know a lot of you guys need to hear us on YouTube and stuff like that. You got rid of your old transistor radio, and you want to hear us online. So we're trying to get all that back together. So is it working? Does it seem like YouTube's working right now? Is it giving you any errors, Lynette, or how's it looking?
I'm trying to check.
Okay. So we're trying to get streaming up. So let us know.
I don't even have the phones up yet. Hold on.
Okay. We'll get the streaming going. We'll do phones in a little bit. So we got that going, and then we'll kind of catch people up while you get the phones going. So this is one of those days that I come in here, and when I last saw you guys, the world was a normal place. We left on a Monday. Everything was great. I said, see you next week. And then the world has changed quite a bit for us here in the region over the last week. Obviously, Tuesday, we got hit with massive weather, and it's been just a roller coaster ride since then. So I know, obviously that's been the main source of discussion here in WGOB. And we're going to keep that going today. We're going to talk about, I think, the topic today. Jim's going to come in a little bit because Bob Starkey's out. We're just going to kind of talk about where things are, where we are with outages, where we are with restoration, what's working, what's not, who has school, who doesn't. We're just going to try to get you as much information today as we can so that you're up to date with what's going on in the region. And then obviously we also want to talk about a path forward. Councilman Starkey put out a letter that's getting a lot of attention over the weekend, basically criticizing the lack of communication, and several other communities kind of jumped in with him on that and echoed his sentiments about the lack of communication. And that's going to be, to me, that's the topic. That is going to be the topic moving forward. Jim and I talked a little bit over the weekend. This is very reminiscent of '08. For those of us that were sort of in the middle of the flood, literally, my neighborhood, that was our big point of contention, was the lack of communication, the lack of sort of cohesiveness and cohesion here in the region. And we really had hoped that after the '08 floods that, communication would get better, organization. To me, I always look at it from the perspective of, sort of like in the military, you have a chain of command. And that's been my question. Who's in charge right now? Is it a county? Is it the EMA? Is it Homeland Security? Is it the state? I don't know. And so that's been the issue at the end of the day, I think all of our communities are doing their best. And obviously we appreciate all of the outside resources that have come in from literally all across the country. There's trucks out there from up and down the East Coast. There's all sorts of resources coming in to help us. But at the end of the day, the question becomes who's in charge, right? Who's in charge? Who's sitting down in a room and making the decisions? And the people that should know, they don't know either. The people that are looking for communication, they're looking for information, they're not getting it. I consider WGOB part of that picture. And again, I was on the air with Jim hours after the storm passed. And, we've been working ever since to keep things on the air. And that's been our point. Who are we talking to? We're getting information from the communities. We're getting information, tidbits here and there, what's going on, but there's been no cohesion. And that's something that I think we all can agree on. And that's something that we need to start calling on people. We need to start addressing. We need to get things put back together. We need to recover. And then we need to talk about a path forward that involves a better communication system. And that's one of the things. I'm just going to keep hammering that. And hopefully the communities, I think we all can agree on that. And hopefully we can come together and just say, look, we don't, there's no blame here. There's just, we need to communicate better. We need to figure out how to put everybody in it when there's an emergency, whether it's a flood, a storm, whatever. We need to have here's who's in charge. Here's who's in that committee. Here's who's meeting. Here's where they're meeting. Here's where you get your information from. I think that's going to be what we push forward. So Lynette's working on the phone lines, but as soon as we have those up, 219-845-1100, we'll let you know as soon as those are working, or I'll start seeing phone calls pop up. So we're working on that. Like I said, we're still basically working on a backup right now. So, we apologize. We're doing our best. We're going to get as much stuff going as we can, but we're basically working on hotspots. So we're going to push. Like I said, I know a lot of people want to hear us on YouTube. We want to get the phone lines going. We want to be able to get information coming in. So that's what we'll be working on this morning. Let's take a quick look at traffic and weather. So traffic, at the moment, everything's looking good. No real traffic to report here in Indiana. 80, 94, 65, Skyway Toll Road, everything looking good on the Illinois side. Everything looking good. 80, 294, Bishop Ford into the Dan Ryan. Dan Ryan's even, into the circle. Things are looking good at the moment, but obviously that can change in an instant. So, if you can't get through on the phone lines, you can send me a text. You can, text whoever. But right now, traffic looking good. I know, Lynette, do you have a second to do the weather, or do you want me to do it?
Yes, I got it.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Today we're at 68 degrees with highs of 77 and lows of 62. It's going to be not as warm with lower humidity with sun and some clouds. Then tomorrow and Tuesday we'll be having highs of 80 and lows of 66. Should be humid with intervals of clouds and sunshine and a thunderstorm in the area late in the afternoon. Then Wednesday we'll be having highs of 78 and lows of 60. Should be partly sunny and humid with a thunderstorm in one or two spots.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Okay, so like I said, we're working on phone lines. I want to hear from you guys. I know there's a lot of people. There are people that were very fortunate. In my case, I was able to get, our power was only out for a few hours. Our internet came back over the weekend. So, obviously there are people that are faring better than others. I live in a neighborhood that has a lot of underground power lines, it's mainly underground utilities. So there wasn't a lot, even though we had a lot of trees down, we didn't have a lot of line damage. So our area came back pretty quickly. I know there's people that are out there where you've seen people working, around the corner, a couple blocks away. They've gotten their power back. You still haven't. You're frustrated. We get that. Like I said, Councilman Starkey put out a letter over the weekend basically asking for better communication and asking, for more NIPSCO resources coming into his community. And we'll certainly get into all that in a little bit because, he's got valid concerns and criticisms. And I know a lot of other communities are kind of feeling the same way. It's sort of what's the priority? Again, it's like one of those things where he's saying, I have a community full of stuff that needs power to keep the community safe, whether that's the police station, the fire station. They have lift stations that are basically giant sump pumps that keep the community from flooding, keep basements from flooding. And there's a lot of questions about, again, the resources, what goes where. There's typical people criticizing, saying, well, the wealthy communities got power first and things like that. No, it's this is all based on damage. I was going through Illinois yesterday. There are areas where, for miles, every pole was down. The amount of devastation they're seeing in the suburbs over there is on par or just as bad or worse than what we're running through. And they've got resources over there as well. And obviously on top of all of this, we've got major flooding across other parts of the state. For those of you, if you haven't been following that, we've got major flooding in the Indianapolis area on eastern Indiana. So obviously the goal right now is Governor Braun has been working with the president to try to get Indiana disaster relief. So I know that certain counties were declared disaster, but also he's trying to get, I believe the way it works is, basically a statewide disaster declaration. It sounds like that's going to happen, hopefully soon, and that will free up some resources. That should give us some federal resources to come help us with recovery. So Lynette says the phone lines are working.
We're also live on YouTube.
And we're live on YouTube. It is a Christmas miracle, Lynette. Thank you so much for all of your hard work. So let's do that. Why don't we take a call, and I'm going to go through we'll catch up on some news, get some NIPSCO updates, stuff like that. So good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning. It's Monday. We're almost a week into this thing.
Right.
I was a lineman for 32 years, and I'm going to tell you, this is bad.
Right. Agreed.
I've been to hurricanes. I've seen bad storms. I drove through Portage the other day. It's a war zone. I haven't had the opportunity to go up north, but I live in St. John, and it was bad out there. But this was a very bad storm.
Can you help me real quick? But here's what I'd like to do.
Yes.
If you could help me, I want to help kind of explain to people, because I know a lot of people are sort of, I mean, again, so I heard somebody the other day, you know, obviously I know you've seen how this works. We have sort of this mutual aid system. So we've got trucks in here right now from the East Coast, from Florida, up and down the East Coast. I've seen trucks from New Jersey, West Virginia. So a lot of times you guys would go help them with restoration, and now they kind of get to return the favor. And there were guys from Florida that said, even after a hurricane, we've not seen devastation this bad. So, I mean, from a technical, from an engineering perspective, the damage that we're seeing, again, we have to explain this to people, is, you know, the grid works in such a way that, and I guess help me kind of explain to people, because a lot of people are frustrated about this. Sort of the idea is, you know, a community is divided into grids. So when there's an issue, you know, basically, we'll in layman's terms, a fuse blows and your grid goes down. And then when that happens, they need to assess the damage and say, okay, and you can't leave basically an open circuit. So in order to get your whole neighborhood re-energized, you need to inspect for damage, and you need to make sure that there's no basically open circuits on the line. And so that requires a lot of manpower. So every break in the line needs to be repaired. Every loose end basically needs to be buttoned up before you can re-energize that circuit. And so some neighborhoods have more damage than others, but at the end of the day, every sort of loose end needs to be buttoned up. And then once that happens, they can attempt to re-energize the circuit, and hopefully your neighborhood gets power. But that is just a very arduous process, because you have to literally go pole by pole, line by line, house by house, and inspect. And the last thing you want to do is turn power on and there's a line, you know, on somebody's house, on a car. So it's a very just intensive process. And thankfully, like I said, we've got hundreds, if not thousands, of people in from the East Coast helping us. But just kind of explain real quick, just kind of go over just, you know, a high level explanation of how that repair works.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that the restoration process is very, very organized. Utility companies have been at this for a long time. And though it may seem that, you know, it's willy-nilly, it's not. These are professionals. It is the restoration process, especially when you get out-of-town crews, is run like a military process. They have staging centers. They have suppliers that are supplying these staging centers. It's very well organized. So I just want to let everybody know that although you may be out of power, there are people out there, very, very smart people, that have been doing this for a long, long time. So I just want to reassure everybody, although it may seem that, you know, they're not getting to you, you know what, they are getting to you. But, you know, and I just want to reaffirm to people that this is a very well organized machine, and it's done nationally. People travel all over the country doing this, linemen. So that's the first thing I'd like to say. The second thing I'd like to say, not getting into too much detail, they go to try to pick up the largest chunks they can in a short amount of time. Okay, if you're a single customer and your service line is down to your house, yeah, you are going to be last on the list. That's just the reality of it. They are going to try to pick up town buildings. They're going to do the hospitals. It's prioritized. So critical infrastructure, yeah, but they're going to get, if they can, and a lot of times, you know, you think, oh, you know, there's a big area out, it's industrial, and you know what? If they can't get to it, they can't get to it. If they need more manpower, if they need more poles, if they need more equipment. So I just want to let everybody know that there are people out there that are working very hard to restore your lights. First of all, you have to assess the damage. Okay, if there's trees down, okay, the guys just can't go over there and start working. They've got to get the tree crews out there to get the trees on the line, off the line. So it's a process. Those guys, it's a fast process. And I like to tell everybody that with the technology and with the equipment that we have nowadays, although you may not think so, your power is getting restored very, very quickly. A storm like this, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, you probably would have been out of lights for a month, just because it just the equipment is so much better.
I was absolutely.
So much, and
go ahead.
very organized.
I drove.
No.
I drove through Munster on Saturday. I was absolutely in awe. At one point, I was on Calumet Avenue, and there was a guy on like every roof. And again, these are guys that came in from West Virginia, from Florida, from New Jersey. These guys drove all day, all night, and then they came straight to your neighborhood. There is literally a tent city set up at South Lake Mall. There are, if you don't believe it, you'll find the photos. There's some drone footage. There are hundreds of trucks. And again, like you said, military operation. There was a guy in every house looking at the head, checking the lines, looking everything over, because that's what you have to do before you energize that circuit. And I was absolutely in awe. Like you said, it looked like a military operation to see the number. It's sort of like a swarm. It's just a swarm of guys. And again, they're from out of town. They don't know the area. They're coming in sort of blind. Somebody sending them, hey, go to this neighborhood and just figure it out. And again, so let's give some people a couple tips. I mean, the main thing that I would say is obviously, the best thing you can do is make sure that your streets are clear, the alley's clear. I mean, do what you can to clear debris, because it'll make it quicker for them to get into your neighborhood and do repairs. So any little things that you can do, getting branches out of the street, anything that you can do to help get them access is great. The other super important thing is there's a lot of people running generators. So sort of explain real quick, if you could, just sort of the importance of, when you use a generator, why it's so important that it be set up properly and not be backfed into the grid. If you can kind of explain just like with the generator aspect of things for people.
Okay, so most people have small residential generators. Okay, so they run an extension cord into the house, they plug in an appliance. That's fine. There's no reason to be worried about backfeeding the system, because you're not. When you plug into that generator, it's just like plugging it into your socket in your home. There is no danger there. The danger is when people try to energize their furnaces. They try to energize half of your panel. Then you have to open up your breaker, feeding back into the system. Now, most people don't have the knowledge to do that, but there are guys out there who are going to try stuff like that. They'll go on YouTube and they'll say, "Oh yeah, I could do that." So, just if you have a residential generator, run your extension cords, plug in your appliances, and you're going to be fine. People have the whole house generators now. If you're fortunate enough to have those are fantastic. When those come on, there's an automatic throw over. It's called an ATO. The ATO opens up your main breaker so you don't backfeed the system. Now that's a little more advanced, but that's basically it. My suggestion to people who run generators: be very careful. I had a next door neighbor on the last storm start up his generator. It was in his garage. He put the garage door down halfway. I was like, oh my God. So I went over there, I knocked on the door, I said, hey, you cannot put it inside. You have to have it outside. If it's running just outside of your garage, it'd be a good idea to close that garage door so none of those fumes get back into your house.
Right.
So those are my safety tips for generators. Get it away from the house as far as you can. It doesn't have to be way away, but just make sure that, it's not close to a basement window that's open. It's not close to a window that's open in your home, because a lot of people now don't have air conditioning. They've got their windows open. So just be safe and use common sense.
Hey, can I ask your name, sir? Oh,
yeah, Ken.
Ken, well, hey, Ken, thank you so much. I appreciate you checking in, because again, all super important things. Like I said, I know there's a lot of frustrated people out there. We just need to keep hitting home the fact that there's help here. Help has arrived. It's going to take a little while. Might be a couple more days for some people, but they're there. I mean, again, same idea. There are guys in from out of town that are in your neighborhood working. acknowledge them, thank them, ask them if they need anything. Maybe go get them some donuts or something, and just thank these guys. They're away from their families. They drove halfway across the country to be here to help you. Be patient, be kind, thank them, all that kind of stuff. They're putting they're literally coming in blind to try to help our neighborhoods. But Ken, definitely keep checking in with the station throughout the week. Just kind of keep, that's great advice, and hopefully just keep checking in every couple of days and let everybody know just from your experience, how things are looking. And those are super helpful hints. So I really appreciate you checking in this morning.
All right, guys, just be patient, and yes, thank those guys. You know what? Don't take your frustrations out on those guys. Those guys are doing the best they can.
Absolutely. So we're going to take a break, and then when we come back, we've got Councilman Bob Starkey on the line. We're going to talk about his letter to NIPSCO. We're going to talk about what's going on, how the recovery is in Dyer. So we'll do that. We'll be back with more after this.
For over 100 years, Roofers Local 26 has been keeping Northwest Indiana dry and safe. Since 1919, our highly trained members have built a reputation for skills, safety, and reliability. With a 4-year apprenticeship and certifications in OSHA safety, first aid, and CPR, we deliver quality you can trust. When you need roofing done right, choose Roofers Local 26, protecting what matters most for over a century. For more information, visit www.roofers26.com.
You're listening to WJOB Radio, AM 1230 and FM 104.7 in Hammond, Indiana. Please stay tuned. Reason Bandstand kicks off when the train gets in the station.
What the?
Do you like to work with your hands, creating something from nothing? Then think about Laborers Local 41. You'll get 432 hours of apprenticeship training, all while earning a wage with benefits and incurring no student debt. You'll travel to different job sites, learn tons of skills, and in a lot of cases, be the first one on and last one off a job site. It all starts at laborers41.com.
When your home needs help, the last thing you need is a faceless corporation or sales-driven franchise. At Myers Companies, we've been proudly local since 1951, born and raised right here in Northwest Indiana. We're family-owned and operated, built on trust, hard work, and integrity. And because we're family, we treat you like family. Your comfort and safety always come first. For HVAC, plumbing, and electrical done right, choose Myers Companies. Local, family-owned, here for your family.
Plumbers Local 210 is building the future, and we're looking for service plumbers to join our team. Our training center invests nearly $500,000 every year to make sure our members are the best in the industry. From a 5-year apprenticeship and an associate degree at Ivy Tech to ongoing certifications in safety and new technology, our plumbers are trained for excellence. Every member is drug tested and licensed for your safety and peace of mind. When you need plumbing work done, make sure you ask for the license. It's your right to ask.
6:24 here in the region. Chuck Pullen with you on a Monday. Jim Diedlow is going to sit down with us in a moment. We're just going to we'll do a quick recap of what's going on with the community. And obviously just a reminder, restoration is still happening, maybe several more days for some communities. A lot of schools that were due to start today have delayed their openings. A lot of schools that started the other day. So for a lot of kids, they're taking another day off of school. So, be aware of that. If there's anything that that you think would help the community, obviously let us know. There was a lot going on over the weekend as far as people offering resources, free food, free showers, charging stations. I mean, many communities are setting up all sorts of resources to help those that are still without power. But one of the things that has come out of this is a question about communication, about sort of hey, what did you do? So we were, that sound you hear is Jim Diedlow joining me on the radio. If I'm still on the radio, I lost everything. Check my plugs. Okay. I'm just going to keep talking. You go jiggle those plugs, cause I lost everything. I can't hear anything. Are we up? Okay. I'm just going to keep talking, but Bob's on the line. We need to talk to him. So, okay. Why don't we take this call from Bob? I'll see if I can hear him. I don't know if it worked for a second and just jiggle stuff. Okay, just there we go. Stop. Okay, don't touch anything. Okay, come back over here. Let's take Councilman Starkey and see if I can hear him. Councilman Starkey, you there?
Good morning, Chuck. How are you doing today?
And again, I'm going to address you properly. It's Councilman Bob Starkey from the town of Dyer, not my friend and co-host Bob Starkey, because you're wearing that hat this morning. Turn us down just a little bit, Lynette, because he kicked it. Now it works better than before. So thanks for that. What's that joke from?
Starkey, how are you?
Go ahead. Now the other way. Perfect. Okay, perfect.
Not doing too bad.
Hey, sorry.
Just as a note, though.
He might be super loud. I don't know.
Just as a note,
Go ahead.
with the audio coming through the phone, it's extremely gargled. I don't know if it's a buffering issue. If you guys are still on the
yeah, we're still on Wi-Fi, so there's
Wi-Fi, but that's rough. So I apologize if I take a second to attempt to decipher what you're saying. I'm getting about every third word.
Got it. Okay, we'll just.
All right. So here's the deal, Bob.
Turn him down a little bit.
We can hear you really well over the air. That last caller.
Yeah.
You just can't hear us. So we're going to ask simple questions, and then you just answer them like you were sitting here instead of me. All right. You wrote a letter and posted it on Facebook. Can you summarize that?
Yeah. So what I did yesterday afternoon, after 4 or 5 days with more than half of the town of Dyer still out of power, and residents, town officials, nobody seeing NIPSCO crews in town, nobody at the town level getting any meaningful communication from NIPSCO leadership, I decided to pen a letter that I really wanted to get information out to the residents, and that seemed the best way to do it. Up until last night's, we'll call it an info dump of when various communities are going to be restored, until that point, the only information that was coming out at NIPSCO was the 7 a.m., 4 p.m., 9 p.m. Drops of information that more or less said the same thing, that most people should be restored by Tuesday. Hopefully everyone's restored by this upcoming Friday this week. And then some general safety tips about generators and live wires, but no real information that would give any of our residents any hope or indication on when they would get restored. Having that same frustration, not only as a resident in town, but as one of the 5 council members who I had nothing. I couldn't even tell our residents, an estimate on when they might be on. So I thought, I'm going to do something that will probably go viral in whatever way a council person from Northwest Indiana posting something could go viral. And I'm going to see if I can't try to move the needle. So there were 2 main points of the letter that really seemed to catch attention. Yesterday had interviews with the Northwest Indiana Times, NBC5, ABC7. They all came out. The letter had gotten to them, and so I was grateful for that. It did its intended purpose. But the 2 points that really stuck out to folks were, I made a comment about 1% of the restoration effort, and I made a comment about NIPSCO not partnering with the town of Dyer. And I'm going to be long-winded for a second just to explain those 2 points. The 1% came from this. Very early on, NIPSCO announced that they had 1,200 contractors, mutual aid folks coming in from out of town. We saw the pictures. They were coming from the East Coast. They were coming from the Gulf. Shortly after ComEd got their population restored at truly lightning speed, just as a side note, Commonwealth Edison started with 25% more power outages, 25% more customers out than NIPSCO did. And early on Saturday, they announced 99% of those were already restored. I believe 4 of the 6 tornadoes in this last storm of last Tuesday happened in Illinois. So they recovered extremely quickly, and so they were able to send upward the 2,000 folks to Northwest Indiana. So when I added those 2 together, this was a simple math equation. 3,200 folks, 1% would be 32 people, and any leisurely scroll on any of the Dyer social media pages, talking with any neighbors, friends, and family throughout town, nobody has seen 32 people from NIPSCO. Now, that's not to include any of the NIPSCO personnel that were here already, including those who actually drive down that 1% number. And so I used that metric to say, look, Dyer is not expecting, an equal share of that. We understand that this is going to take some time. We understand that there are areas that were hit worse, areas that were not impacted at all. I used that as a metric to say, look, we couldn't even get 1% of their outside restoration efforts to come to our town. And so, again, that was just as I don't know what you would call it, like I said, a metric to say they have brought enormous resources to bear on this, and Dyer has received virtually none.
Okay, let's stop there. All right, that's the crux of this. Okay. Hold on. In your letter, you say NIPSCO leadership has left the town of Dyer in an unsafe and unhealthy position. Please explain.
So I want to make two distinctions there. One, I was very purposeful, even though folks now have said, oh, there's a couple spelling mistakes. And I said, well, yeah, I'm a human. What are you going to do? I was very purposeful to put NIPSCO leadership in as many places as I could. A lot of these linemen that are out there, Dyer's a blue-collar community. They live in our community. Their power's out themselves. And so I wanted to just ensure, folks, that we have no issues with any of the workers. They're being dispatched and doing the absolute best job they can. I can't imagine how tired and exhausted they are. So that's why I label it as NIPSCO leadership. Here's where I say that they've left Dyer in an unsafe and unhealthy position. Almost daily, they will send out a form letter to nobody, which means in the blind carbon copy space are probably all of the leaders of Northwest Indiana, asking what is still out, what are you guys dealing with, and we've responded with the same thing every time. It's copy-paste. We have two things in parallel happening in Dyer right now. On one, our residents are out, but two, we have a lot of our critical infrastructure that is still without power running on backup generators. Police stations, fire stations, our lift stations, our wastewater treatment plants, public works. These are only running on backup generators now. The generators are doing what they're meant to do. It's a combination of natural gas generators and diesel generators. The issue is these facilities were never meant to run long-term on generators. And as many people who have generators now know that you run them this long, we're getting reports all the time of even the national natural gas Generac ones, which people think are godsends, and they are, you can't run them all the time. Eventually, they have to be shut off for a while. They have to cool down. You have to check oil, air filters, air intakes. There's maintenance that has to happen while these things are operational. And again, they're there, they're serving their purpose, but that is the last line before we have things like our lift stations, our wastewater treatment plant go offline. And again, these are meant to, if a storm comes through and power's out for a few hours, residents shouldn't notice anything.
So we're talking to Councilman.
Our concern is that
Go ahead.
We repeatedly said, hey guys, we need power to our critical infrastructure. It wasn't until Friday or Saturday afternoon, I apologize, all the days are just going together, that we even had some power restored to even the intersection at 30 and Hart, the gateway into Dyer, into Indiana from Illinois. So we're just not hearing from NIPSCO. There's no meaningful communication.
Now, let's clarify. So we're talking to Councilman Bob Starkey, and also I know that several other communities have sort of joined you in this concern. You talk about that a little bit. Who have you been talking to? I mean, again, it seems like most of the communities is sharing your concern about this lack of communication.
You're right. A lot of the communities have voiced similar frustrations. and some haven't. In speaking with Council President from Cherville, Robin Arvanitis, she mentioned yesterday that while they're still frustrated with the pace that power is being restored in Cherville, they seem to have better communication. I don't know how, God bless them. But when I was interviewed by ABC and NBC, I was joined by a 5th Ward Councilman from Munster, Jonathan Peterson, to talk about similar frustrations in Munster. I had conversations with Rick Rifa from the council over in Griffith, saying they're in the same spot. They're not getting any communication. The only thing they're receiving is these, at best, boilerplate communications from NIPSCO, and a lot of their critical infrastructure, from lift stations, stormwater pumps to their sanitary stations. They're still running on generator power, and they're just not getting any communication. It's not only a dire problem. It seems to be more widespread in certain communities.
All right, Bob. So to summarize, it sounds like your issue is twofold. One, you would like more attention to Dyer and the critical infrastructure, and in your mind, it's making unsafe conditions and unhealthy conditions. Okay. And two, you are not being communicated with. And honestly, from having done the flood here and all those years, to me, that was always the most frustrating thing for town and city leaders. So are we reading that right? More attention to Dyer, and please communicate with us. Is that it?
Exactly. And I would almost reverse those, where, like I said in the beginning, we understand that this was a historic storm with widespread damage from the north end to the south end of the county all the way out to LaPorte County. We understand this is going to take time. What we don't understand is why there's been no communication.
All right. Hey,
So,
Bob,
we'll just ask him real quick. Is there anything else that you want to share with your community as far as resources or anything new? I mean, again, we've talked about people that are having power outages, like just sort of where can people go? I know a lot of people were offering showers this weekend, free food, charging stations. Just real quick, just kind of mention a few resources for the community.
One of the things that we have established at both the police station and the town hall is cooling shelters and charging stations. Now, we do have to remind folks that we are still on generator power at those stations. So if I show up, if you show up to charge our cell phone, it doesn't add that much of a load to the generators. But we just need to have folks in mind that our facilities are still working under some emergency conditions. We have increased the number of dumpsters starting today and tomorrow. As you can imagine, those are hard to come by. We have several of those being delivered throughout town. I would recommend folks, if you're on Facebook, follow the Town of Dyer. All of the updates will be on there. I would like to thank our business community and the faith-based community. They've been stepping up. They've been stepping up not only in Dyer, but in the surrounding communities. But again, we are still attempting to get on our feet in Dyer.
Thanks a lot, Bob.
Appreciate it. Stay safe out there. It is 6:40 here in the region. We'll take a break. I was just going to say that. We'll take a break. We'll be back more after this. Thank you.
Need clean energy without the junk? I'm Jim Diedlow. I used to live on burgers, football, basketball, baseball. Now I'm gluten-free and more into biking, golf, and yoga. But I still need energy. That's why I love Paradise, developed by Emily D. Edwards right here in Cherville. My favorite is Paradise Packs Strawberry with gluten-free pretzels. Find it soon at Strachan Van Til or at spreadparadise.com.
Free summer music is still rocking at Fox Point. Our Wednesday night concert series brings Trippin' Billy's, The 1985, Elton Jeff and the Honky Cats, Mike and Joe, and Dick Diamond and the Dusters. Friday Night Lights brings you Gold Dust Dreams and One of These Nights on August 21st, and Mexico and El Corazon on September 4th. Fox Point in Lansing, Illinois is just minutes from I-8094, and parking is free. Visit foxpoint.org for our full schedule. That's point with an E, foxpoint.org.
Get ready for Wings Rock fun and prizes at Wing and Roll. Friday, September 25th from 5 to 9 at Bulldog Park Pavilion in Crown Point. Sample wings from Northwest Indiana's top chefs. Vote for the People's Choice. Enjoy live music from Backstory NWI and win incredible prizes. Tickets are $75 with tables of 8 for $575. Every dollar helps support Mental Health America of Northwest Indiana. Get your tickets now at mha.rallyup.com/WR 2026.
For over 140 years, the Central Midwest Carpenters have built our communities in Northwest Indiana. Are you ready to join the effort? We have long-term work, competitive pay, and the best benefits in the industry. We pride ourselves on innovative training and commitment to worksite safety. Earn as you learn as an apprentice. A solid career built on a solid legacy. For more info, go to carpenters.com.
IBEW Local 697 electrical contractors bring the highest standard of electrical work to Lake County homes, schools, and businesses. From everyday fixes to once-in-a-lifetime builds, we don't just get the job done, we get it done right and up to the highest safety standards. When you need electrical work, hire the professionals who power Indiana. Powering Indiana, Lake County, bringing excellence to the job, creating a brighter future for our community.
Hey, it's 6:42 here in the region. Chuck Pullen, Jim Diedlow here with you this morning. We had Councilman Starkey on a few minutes ago. He is not with me today, but he's with me in spirit. And we were just talking about his letter to NIPSCO about the lack of communication. Let's take a quick look at traffic and weather. Traffic here in the region, everything looking good. 80, 94, 65, Skyway Toll Road. Just an FYI, it looks like there is some resurfacing work happening on Indianapolis Boulevard. So if you take that way, you take sort of the back way into the city, you might hit some traffic around the state line, like in the Hegwish area. Let us know if a lot of people take that back way in. If you're working on the south side, there's some work going on there. Other than that, on the Illinois side, 80, 294, Bishop Ford looking good. Little traffic into the merge. Dan Ryan on in. Other than that, traffic pretty light around the area. Lynette, how's the weather?
Good morning, everyone. Today we're at 70 degrees with highs of 77 and lows of 62. It's going to be not as warm with a lower humidity with sun and some clouds. And tomorrow on Tuesday we'll be having highs of 80 and lows of 66, which should be humid with intervals of clouds and sunshine. A thunderstorm in the area late in the afternoon. And Wednesday we'll be having highs of 78 and lows of 60. Should be partly sunny and humid with a thunderstorm in 1 or 2 spots.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I mean, we were super fortunate that the weather has kind of cooperated after the storms. So, I mean, obviously it could have been much worse. We could have had just a week of rain and, that kind of thing. But we've been lucky that it hasn't been. The weather's kind of cooperated since the storms. Makes it a little easier to work on cleanup and stuff like that. But we do have a bunch of phone calls. We're going to take those in a second. Just remember, we are kind of working on hot spots at this point. So everything is, everything's working and, we're just doing our best at the moment. So let's take some calls. Good morning, caller on there.
All right.
Good morning.
It's 7 o'clock and 10 o'clock. Morning, guys. Can you hear me?
We can.
So, this is Coos, and, Jim and I, as well as you, have a lot of experience with this. The problem that happened is, after 08, we all said we needed a central command to communicate, and we never followed through.
Right.
So we don't have a system that you're asking for.
Right. Well, even a chain of command. I mean, I'm just going to ask the question: who's in charge right now? Does anybody know? I mean, do we have?
So we don't. So here's, and we're not going to solve this today, but what they should start doing is get a central command like they did during COVID, and at least tell everyone from every community to go maybe at 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock and talk to each other and talk to the leaders of the state and the county and NIPSCO, and get all the stakeholders together once a day, so at least they could get together until we can get the lines of communication open. The negative side, the positive side of having 17 different communities where you have your own autonomy is when things are good, you have your own autonomy, you do your own thing. When you have a massive storm like this, just like '08, it doesn't work so well when you have all these boundaries, and that's what we have. So we're not going to solve that, but what we should do is try to get people back online. So my suggestion is that the leaders, people from NIPSCO, people from the county, people from emergency management, get once a day like they did at COVID, where they get together. I don't know if it's the courthouse. NISA was supposed to kind of try to do this. I don't know where that ended up happening and where it fell, but there was supposed to be a central command where everyone got together and you brought all the resources together and you communicate and coordinate. We don't have that, so we're going to have to do the best we can. I've been around, and I was driving all day yesterday. I stopped at Jim's, stopped at some other people's. There's trees. The problem that we're going to run into to get everyone back up is the way that our grid is. In many areas, you have trees that are wrapped up in the easements, and you have all those lines intertwined there. And they have to get in between there and get those all cleared so that they can start putting new lines. This is going to be longer than people think. I know I heard the individual earlier say it's coordinated on the electrical side. He's correct in that that's what they do all the time. But I can't see it happening as quickly as he thinks, because I see all those trees, and everyone sees all those trees behind their house if you have an easement. They have to get all that cleared off so that they can run new lines. And so it's going to be some time. I think, like I said, I think the leaders should get together and start meeting somewhere, maybe the courthouse, whatever, pick a centrally located spot that has power and start getting together once a day and try to communicate that way.
Well, and so that Dave Kuziak Dave Kuziak on the phone. So, I mean, one of the things that I talked about the other day is, we have a system in place. It's sort of a mutual aid system, and it's a great system where if one community has a problem, they have a large fire, there's mutual aid. The problem becomes when every community gets hit by the same thing at the same time, and even our neighbors, like in Cook County on the Illinois side, a lot of the neighboring communities also got hit. So you have this idea that we have a mutual aid system, which works great when everybody's not being overwhelmed by the same problem. And so that's one of the issues, is that we had to call in a lot of outside help. Just remind people, we've got trucks in from all over the East Coast helping us right now. So a lot of the guys working in your neighborhood, probably not from the area. Again, be patient, be kind, thank them for coming in from out of town to help us. And like you mentioned, I mean, I've heard this from a few people that said, because of the way that our communities are set up, they need specialized equipment. There's certain kinds. I mean, I saw cranes all over Munster. I saw, just giant trees flying on cranes when I was driving through over the weekend. There's a lot of, there's some things that you can just set up a bucket truck and fix. And there's some things that you need specialized equipment. NIPSCO needs certain types of transformers in certain places. There's a lot of just hardware that they have spares, but probably not enough. So that and like you said, I mean, there's just a lot that needs to happen. I think the core.
They're going to need cranes, Chuck. They're going to need cranes to grab a bunch of those trees. Got uprooted, so
right.
They're intact and they're laying down. You need a crane to grab those. Everything is a little bit different. I mean, just to give you an indication, I was at some friends checking on them yesterday over on Linden and Schreiber, close to Ridge Road by Wilbur Wright. There's the easement is grass.
Right.
You have people that have fences up there. They're going to have to go all the way through and go in those yards and grab all those trees. And I looked in back, and all the wires are wrapped up around them, and the posts are split in half. All that has to be cleared before they can rerun the lines. So each situation is a little bit different, and obviously where the tornado hit is the worst. But I echo what you said earlier. If you're able-bodied and everyone on the street can get out there and clean the street so that there's passage, and then what's going to start happening, and I saw it yesterday, when those cranes are set up, they're going to shut the streets down because you can't be underneath a crane, especially when it has a tree on it. So we need to clear the streets, stay away from the area, let the trucks do what they need to do. I mean, I know obviously people want to talk about communications and the macro situation, but we're not going to solve that today. We blew it. We had it in 2008. We knew this was going to happen again, and we never did anything.
But look, all right,
Goose,
thanks a lot.
From a regional standpoint, so we need to fix it now.
All right, man. Thanks a lot for the call. 219-845-1100. Hey, we're going to go to the next one. Hey, you're on the air.
Good morning. Hey, I want to bring the conversation back to Starkey. Chuck, the last question you asked Starkey was, what is the town of Dyer offering their residents in the form of aid? The thing that has me concerned is you got a multi-million-dollar amphitheater that's sitting empty right now in that park that I think you had something to do with putting together. And I'm not putting the blame on you, obviously. So we have that resource, all of millions of dollars sitting in that park right now. Yet when we have a catastrophe like this, Starkey has the audacity to offer up a charging station that may or may not work, or a couple dumpsters in the form of aid for the residents of Dyer. That's what I've got an issue with. How are we spending our money? We don't have a rainy day fund. Something like this happens, there's no money to be had.
Okay. So Bob will be back on these airwaves later this week or next week, and you guys can have that discussion. I obviously don't want to speak for him, but what I will tell you, and to your point, in our area of St. John, one of the first things that came back online, I mentioned my neighborhood was very fortunate. Our park came back online, and I said, my park has infrastructure because we have Christmas and stuff like that. I said, we have a lot of power out at that park because we have that infrastructure. I worked with the town. I said, hey guys, I have the ability to set up charging stations at our park for the rest of the community. And we acted, my son jumped in, we set up charging stations in the park because we had that infrastructure. Again, it's not meant for that, but we were able to offer that. At his park, there's not exactly, you can't, at some point they're going to have a community center there. That can be a cooling station, but right now it's just a band shell. It's a band shell. There's not a whole lot out. It's a band shell in the middle of a field. It's not going to really offer anything as far as that. But again, not to poo-poo the significance of a charging station, but in times like these, we need a little more than that. There's people out there that they don't have food, that people have thrown all their food out because it's spoiled. There's other things people need, and some people should be able to depend on their government to help them out in times like this. And for him to offer up a charging station and a couple dumpsters for the people of Dyer, I'm appalled, man. That's disgusting.
Okay. Thanks for your phone call. 219-845-1100. Hey, I do want to say some good news here. First of all, NIPSCO was out here in the Sportsplex yesterday. I went out and worked at the Y. I was over here most of the day. And I went over here at the corner of 165th and Indianapolis. They got power. The Y was rocking. And the Sportsplex was rocking. NIPSCO was giving stuff out. Also, Strachan Van Til has given over 60,000 hot dogs over and 250 pallets of water. And most trailers hold 22 pallets, so I don't know, trailer after trailer. And 150 pallets of ice. That's, 10 or 12 trucks. So I did talk a little bit about it last week. I'm like, hey, what is local business going to do? Certainly, Strachan Van Til has stepped forward. NIPSCO had all their people out here. They had a big thing, I saw they did a big photo op with Jake Jacobs. People are responding. The stuff we're talking about, we kind of got to air. Starkey was mad. Dave from Crown Point was mad. I'm pretty sure every caller is going to have some sort of bug to deal with, and I get all of that. But I will say this, that on the flip side, and by the way, I think North Township's going to have a nice announcement here shortly. We're still coming together in our own way.
Well, and let's talk about, here's the thing. Like, Councilman Starkey can't order truckloads of generators, right? He can't, but Home Depot can. So Home Depot had literally, if you go to the Home Depots right now, there are aisles and aisles of generators and chainsaws and things like that. So Strax, what do they have? They have food. They've given it away. A lot of local restaurants. Again, people are using the resources that they have. If they are a restaurant, they are a hardware store, they're a grocery store. Every community, everybody that has a resource has been generous with sharing that and making that available. If you have power, if you're, these churches that have power and showers and things like that, saying, come into the church, take a shower, do it. So it's at the end of the day, the community is coming together and sharing the resources they have with the people that don't have them.
Not all the way.
Okay.
Yes, people are coming together. We still have the issue of communication, and I think that's what's hitting Starkey.
Right.
Why aren't the town of Dyer and NIPSCO at the same table once a day with all of the other municipal leaders and NIPSCO and with, the water department. I mean, all of these critical infrastructures, and it's still lacking to some extent. Now, it's way better than it was in 2008, way better, but we still have to talk to each other.
Well, let's just talk real quick just to kind of catch people up. I mean, I think on that level, every community is doing great. I mean, at the end of the day, Dyer, Munster, you name the community, their leaders are stepping up.
They're awful in Ogden Dunes. I mean,
I was getting to a point here, but
it's everywhere.
Well, so listen. So all of these communities are stepping up. They're doing what they can with what they have. The governor came to town right away, declared. I mean, there was no bureaucracy. Everybody did their part. The governor stepped in, signed the declaration. We expect that President Trump will declare the entire state, because remember, it's not just us right now. We've got flooding in the Indianapolis area, eastern Indiana. We've got lots of flooding around the state. We've got lots of issues besides our area right now in the state. So they're trying to get the entire state declared a disaster area. That frees up resources, government money, et cetera. So we've got that happening. So we've got a lot of things in motion. Again, government moves slowly, but in this case, I give them kudos. Everybody seems to be doing the best they can. The bigger discussion becomes this communication. I mean, again, this is the time where I go, hey, how do we have all of these? What do you guys used to call it? The 19 overlapping taxing municipal jurisdictions or something like that is one of my favorite lines. But you have all of these layers of government. You have the local, you have the county, you have the unelected officials, the NERPCs, the RDAs. We have all these layers of government. And a lot of times, like the NERPCs, what do they focus on? Bike trails, roundabouts, stuff like that. But everybody in the county has a seat at that table. Like, why isn't a NERPC? Again, maybe it's out of their charter. Maybe they can't legally do it. But we have organizations that already have representatives from every community as part of that. Why is that organization not saying, okay, we're holding an emergency meeting. We are the communication center for the communities to talk to each other. Everybody's got a point person and we're going, I mean, something like that. Like why, again, Dave mentioned NISA after the floods, things like that. Why, we dropped the ball in 08 is what Kuziak said. And maybe that's something once we rebuild, maybe we're going to keep hitting that home. We're going to keep pushing that to our leaders. We need to have some sort of communications network in place to deal with this.
All right, a couple more updates. The shootings at the NIPSCO workers in Gary. What do you know?
Okay, so what we know right now is that on Saturday, there was a NIPSCO vehicle. It was one of the SUVs, and it apparently received some gunfire. So, I mean, again, NIPSCO acknowledged it. Mayor Melton acknowledged it. It's making national news, unfortunately. So we know that at least one NIPSCO vehicle was shot at. There were several bullet holes in the vehicle. Luckily, no one was injured. There were reports that other linemen were also shot at the time. So Mayor Melton, obviously not. I mean, again, another guy that's doing such good things in his community, and he's been on top of things. Again, he's not happy. He put out a statement. I'll see if I can pull it up real quick because I don't have it in front of me. But he basically came out right away and just said, hey, this is not how we do things. It's a video statement, so I can't read it. But essentially, he came out and said, look, we're going to do everything we can to help NIPSCO. At one point, NIPSCO put out a statement and said, we are going to basically provide security. We're going to provide as much support as we can for these linemen. But again, it's something that in the middle of everything else going on, we shouldn't, some guy came all the way up from Florida to help restore power in your neighborhood and you're going to shoot at him. Like, we don't need this. This is absolutely the last thing we need right now, and it's amazing. It's
and there
deplorable.
are a number of things opening up. The wife and I were actually going to go maybe see Dave Gearman, maybe go just to get away and clear our heads today and get some sun. But as you guys know, my wife's a magistrate in divorce court, and looks like the courthouse in Gary is opening, so they did get some power there. All right, the other thing is Ken Allen is suing on vegetation, and Paul Goddard is making posts.
So, let's take a moment. Let's acknowledge, Paul Goddard, again, totally on top of things. The guy's been all over the community. He's been on top of things.
I agree entirely. He's our guy.
So,
honestly, I hate to say this, but here we are in the middle of a catastrophe. A lot of people listened all week last week, and I'm sure we're going to have a lot this week, and we're going to air out. I want to say thank you to Mayor Eddie Melton. I want to say thank you to Governor Braun, Mike Braun, and I want to say thank you to Congressman Frank Mervan. They got their tails down here. They went on. They answered your questions, and they were I think that was the best communication we had last week, was right here with Frank Mervan and then Braun and Eddie Melton. And so you guys did an amazing job talking to people, okay? But things are going to unwind. Right now, people are hurting, okay? And if we were to open and just talk what you're going to do right now, people are going to say, this happened and this is bad and this person got ripped off and I don't have anything and the senior down the street. We know all of these stories, but we do have to air the shooting because it's national news, and my buddies in California and Boston are texting me like, what the hell's going on? What the hell is going on?
Well, what the hell's going on is it's 7:01 in the region. You're listening to AM 1230, 104.7 FM in beautiful Hammond, Indiana. We'll be back with more, and we'll tell you what the hell's going on after this.
It's the simplest expression. The smallest thing that changes everything. A smile. So easy. A smile lights it up. Apologizes. And welcomes unconditionally. Because the shortest distance between two people is a smile.
Thank you.
Strachan Van Til, where making life easier starts with a smile.
The best just got better. Tech Credit Union is proud to celebrate being recognized with Best of the Region, Best CEO, and Best Banker. To celebrate, we're offering 3 special CD offers with rates up to 4.5% APY for a limited time. Visit techcu.org or stop by your nearest Tech Credit Union branch or call 800-276-8324 to learn more. Tech Credit Union, the better option for people and communities we serve. Member NCUA. Minimum deposit required. Offer subject to change. Visit techcu.org for complete details.
From the gas in your car to the heat in your home and the roads that you drive on, our work powers daily life. We are USW Local 71, the proud men and women of the Whiting Refinery. We're not just refinery workers. We're your friends and neighbors, raising our families here, shopping in the same stores, and cheering in the same stands. USW Local 71, powering the region because we are the region.
We've had some cars run into the barrier wall, not paying attention. They were on their phone.
Texting, scrolling. Yeah, it's bad.
Most often they be on their phones or they're just not paying attention. They can cause a crash.
We could stand on the side of the road and watch every other vehicle looking down into their lap as they're passing us. You know what they're looking at. They're looking at their phone.
Phones. On their phones, not paying attention.
Phones. I'm not a mathematician, but I say probably about 80% of the people who pass me are on their telephones.
No call, text, or video is worth putting yourself or a road worker in danger. When driving through construction, LIUNA members ask you for your sake and ours.
Slow down, stay off your phone, please. Be aware of where we're at, where the cone zones are at.
Stay off your phones and buckle up and drive safe.
We're not asking for much.
This is Brian Short, Business Manager for the Indiana Laborers District Council. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, save a life. We're all in this together.
A message from Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
This is a Chuck Pullen show. Go ahead. Somebody has to do weather. I'll do the traffic. I'm not quite ready, to be honest with you. Show me the traffic over there. Lynette Lopez, what's the weather like?
Give me just a minute.
All right, yeah. 294 around the city looks pretty good. 80 going east and west looks good. Bishop Ford is actually a little lighter than normal. And the Borman, I-65, US 30, Klein Avenue, they're all moving along pretty well. In terms of the weather, Lynette Lopez?
Good morning, everyone. Today we're at 70 degrees with highs of 77 and lows of 62. It's going to be not as warm with lower humidity with sun and some clouds. And tomorrow and Tuesday we'll be having highs of 80 and lows of 66 with should be humid with intervals of clouds and sunshine. A thunderstorm in the area late in the afternoon. Then Wednesday we'll be having highs of 78 and lows of 60. Should be partly sunny and humid with a thunderstorm in 1 or 2 spots.
Hey guys, we're going to take all your calls and we want to hear them in just a second. But 2 things. I just want to say thank you to a lot of people. I mean, in a weird way, we have come together, and even though we're airing out a couple of differences here, you know, I'm astounded at how people came together. I've seen people cleaning out catch basins. I've seen people, you know, hey, can I help you? And come over. I will say this, that I definitely want to thank Braun, Melton, and Mervan they came here first thing. I want to say thank you to Dabberton, to everybody else who covered time last week. Kuziak, right when the flood happened, he drove straight, or not flood, right when the tornadoes happened, he drove straight here, and he was on the air for 5.5 hours.
Right.
And it was just like, all right, Dave, I got to go home. When the flood came, I neglected my own home. I neglected all my relatives. I neglected all my duties. And I stayed on the air for 6 days straight. And I said, that's not my role anymore. We got a lot of hosts. Kuziak took a lot of time. Dabberton took a lot of time. Mayor Eddie Melton and Natalie Ammons came over from WLTH and took a few hours. So thank you for kind of getting us through those first few days, which is what we're supposed to be here. Lynette, I think that you came through swimmingly. The method that I wanted to set up, that is, if the whole world was going down, that we could at least go on radio. That proved to be true on last week. All we had to do was come out. Somehow we had power, and we just flipped it on, and we were on the entire time. Thank you to everybody who contributed that, including our elected leaders. Personally, I know Kuziak's been asking me and other people. Here's the deal. I live in the northeast corner of Munster. Everybody knows that, by Wicker Park. But 10 of my relatives and a few other really close friends, including Kuziak's daughters, whom I've kind of helped been around since they were little kids, were all in the exact same area that was affected by the flood in a bad way. And the exact same thing is happening now. My little brother, who almost lost his leg during the flood when it got infected when he was sitting there, now he's got a tree through his living room. My sister lives across the street. All their stuff fell on the house. My daughter lives right there also across the way, across the street too, and all three of them have just been devastated. And then the other relatives in the area, my dad lives right there, and all the Fourites were all kind of just like same little city Billy area. But it's all the same thing. But the difference this time is that it was very concentrated in the flood. And people have asked me, well, how is this different? Now I'm supposed to go see a buddy from Ogden Dunes on Friday, and he's like, I can't do that because as soon as we get power, I got a week to clean up. I mean, like, is it that bad that these tornadoes and this windstorm came across the Midwest and then it hit the region, and typically things would get blown away from the lake because of the moisture? It went right up onto the lake. And Dave Gehrman talked about Miller being bad, my buddy on Ogden Dunes. Portage might be the worst. I mean, we're not even really talking about Portage, but Portage might be the worst. And then, of course, you got in Illinois, they had 4 tornadoes. We only had 2. I don't know what's happening, but it is incredibly widespread. Now, there are a few little pockets, maybe like newer subdivisions, that don't seem to have really felt much of this at all. They didn't lose power. They did for a short period. They didn't have a lot of trees yet, so they didn't get whacked by all the trees. But for the most part, this thing stretches from Mokina to Michigan City, from Whiting down to South Central High School.
Right. Well, and that's what we talked about with Dave, was the idea of mutual aid. I mean, the idea that, when you have a localized flood, you can bring in mutual aid from neighboring communities. But when everybody in your mutual aid network is dealing with the same thing, resources are stretched very thin. And that's why we were very fortunate. We've got a lot of help coming in from the East Coast. Governor Braun working with President Trump. We should have a disaster declaration for the entire state because, again, they've got flooding all over the state. Indianapolis, I don't know if you've seen that footage. Indianapolis, the suburbs, like Carmel, Noblesville, they're being rocked by just massive flooding. Eastern Indiana. So there's a lot going on in the state right now, and hopefully the president, the feds will send some resources our way.
Well, yes, I certainly hope that happens because people need relief right now. And Adrian, I'm kind of on hold with Adrian Santos, is going to tell me a couple things on what people in North Township should do. But then there have been some major businesses that have stepped up, including NIPSCO, giving all this stuff away yesterday. Everybody came out. Those workers didn't have to come out on a Sunday that work in the office, and we're all over here. Strachan Van Til, 60,000 hot dogs, thousands of cases of water, and they really met the moment. Now, I was shopping on Saturday morning. I went to the downtown Hammond Strachan Van Til because I knew it wouldn't be that crowded, and because they had been open. So, like in some of the other areas, it was cycling through. I was like, man, I got to get over there. And so I went downtown Hammond, and there I am filling up 2 big buggies, one for me and one for my kid, and she has no power. And there's Jeff Strack checking the produce and making sure everything's working and talking to all the things. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. So people are answering the bell, and all we can tell you is that there are going to be just problems, and you're going to be frustrated, okay? But we are region strong, and we have come together, and we will get through these next few days. Now, honestly, I don't know what's going to happen to our psyche here as a region, and people are worried about future tornadoes. Are we new Tornado Alley? And Kenny Allen's suing NIPSCO over vegetation. And, I mean, people are going to argue and argue. But right now, we have one more week to get through.
Right.
And we need to get through it together. 219-845-1100. Let's get the next phone call.
Morning call. You're on the air.
Yeah, there is an element of concentrated power, but they make bad decisions. Look at the West Corridor project. They lied their head off about it. They said it would be $500 million and change, and when those of us like myself said no, this is $1 billion boondoggle. You had Vislavsky on WGOB. How dare they talk that way? Well, they finally get around to admitting it's a $1 billion project. They lied and said it would increase the South Shore's ridership by 50%. Has it done that? No. But it's the usual big government, North Lake, Democrat crowd. And
there's no way that, Walt, stop. You and I have been arguing for 20 years and agreeing. There's absolutely no way you're going to blame this storm and the response on it on Democrats or any other political party. You're not going to do that.
I'm not talking about the storm. I'm talking about the West Corridor thing. Pay attention for a change.
Why are we talking about West Corridor thing? You've done that hundreds of times. What is your criticism right now about
the West Corridor? What was your position on the West Corridor? You argued for it because why? Because it would show that we could do big things. All baloney. Let's talk about the convention center. Why would you build a convention center with a high crime situation like you have in Gary? Tell me. Explain it to me.
Walt, you have chased Jim Diedlow out of the studio. But okay, so Walt, again, this is something you and I, we're going to talk about this in a week or two once things are back to normal. But I get your point. Your point is that in the region, they managed to pull resources together to do big things like to build the train, to build a convention center. But when we need people to come together to restore power, to communicate after a storm, nowhere is to be found. And again, Walt, I said the same thing a few minutes ago. I said, why is it that NERPST can bring all these people together to build bike trails and roundabouts, but when we need people to come together to communicate what's going on, they're nowhere to be found. And I agree with you, Walt. And Jim's a little frustrated. So what I'll say, Walt, we'll have that discussion in the coming weeks because I don't want to let them up off the mat. I don't want to have a repeat of 08. We need to make sure moving forward that all these organizations, all these layers of government, that when we need them to do something other than build a bike trail roundabout, that they are able to pool those resources to do that. I agree with you on that. Anything else before we move on?
The ridiculous. I mean, you have this evil coalition of big government Democrats and the construction industry. If it's going to bring construction money into the situation, they're for it. They never. I mean, you go back to the 2000s when they wanted to build the Bears Stadium,
right?
And the Bears never agreed that they would play there, even if it was built. But boy, they pushed that thing like crazy.
All right, Walt. Hey, Walt, we got a bunch of calls, and I appreciate your constant analysis of leaders and the government in our area, I think it's a little misplaced right now, and you're being a little tone deaf. And you and I have agreed or disagreed over the years on things, but right now is not the time for what you're talking about. So I'm going to move on. Hey, 219-845-1100. Hey, you're on the air.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are things in your neck of the woods?
Well, it's not good, but we can go through it. We're not going to be blaming anybody. It's not a Democrat, it's not a Republican thing. And first of all, I want to say for those whoever shot at those NIPSCO trucks and with bullet holes, somebody know who did that. Somebody, if that's your friend, I'm saying to people in the community, if that's your friend, a lot of times your friend will come and tell them, oh, I did this to NIPSCO. You need to turn them in. That is not your friend. That is not your friend. Somebody know. Well, you all agree, somebody know who, because they talk to their friends, whoever did that, somebody know. And this is not our community. It's happening in Gary, but it's not our community.
So, Ron, real quick, let me just real quick, just to catch people up on this. So this is a statement from the city of Gary. So this a statement that came out yesterday. I'll just summarize real quick. So last night, gunfire struck a NIPSCO vehicle being used for utility crew to restore power to Gary. Eddie Melton, this is a quote from the mayor. He says, "Let me be clear, this type of violence is absolutely unacceptable and will not be tolerated in the city of Gary. These crews are here for one reason, to help our residents restore electricity." So again, people are coming in from all over the country to help restore power, and they're getting shot at, according to some, by several sources.
How do you take that, Matlock? How do you take that in your city?
I think that's absolutely terrible. It's absolutely terrible. And anybody know me, will tell you that Matlock is not for this type of thing, and I don't know. This was an animal basically that did that. And but will you agree with me, Jed? Somebody know who did it. Probably was one of their friends. Would you agree with that?
Somebody knows. Somebody knows. It wasn't.
Yeah, okay.
It doesn't look like it was a lone wolf that nobody would know who it was. So speak up,
so
people.
I'm just simply. Sometimes when the people do something stupid, they'll tell their friends, I did this to NIPSCO because they did this. Somebody know, and that person who know, that person who shot that truck is not your friend. Okay, you need to turn him in. That's what I'm saying, Jed.
You got it.
Will you agree that somebody know?
Oh, somebody knows this, and it's just ridiculous that the entire country knows that we're sending power workers out there and they're getting shot at. That does nothing for showing what good people we are and what our area is all about. We're in the middle of this massive boom, and the only thing that many people are hearing about us the entire year is that we're shooting at power workers. All right, I got to go right now. Thank you. We're going to go. Can we take him now? Rick Kalinsky of NIPSCO. Rick, thanks for calling in.
Hey, Jim. I appreciate the time driving in this morning and hearing you guys talk, and just wanted to call in and give a little bit of an update. And I've got time for a couple questions, too, if you have them. And first and foremost, I know you got a lot of listeners out. Just what an unbelievable, challenging, really natural disaster we're all dealing with. Obviously I represent NIPSCO, so I'm going to go right to the energy. I want to thank all of our customers for the patience. This is an unprecedented storm that we've had to deal with, and I know if many of you we're kind of all in our own community, but I've had the chance to drive around quite a few of our communities that we serve, and I've never seen the damage that we've seen from a storm before like we have now. And we had 370,000 customers that were impacted. Jim, that's more than double the amount of customers that I've seen impacted in the 15 years that I've been here. We're down to about 100,000 out. We are working 24 hours around the clock. We brought in 2,000 contractors, mutual aid. What that is that's other utility workers from other states that have come up. We've set up camps. We are doing everything we can, and we will be making some really strong progress here in the next couple of days. And I'll tell you, everybody's seen this, people that are listening, it's been challenging, even as yesterday was a good day, but we've had to deal with a lot of rain and some other stuff coming after that major storm on Tuesday. So really just want to thank all of our customers really for the patience. Appreciate the understanding. It is unprecedented. We know it's an absolute inconvenience during this time to be without service, and we don't take that for granted, and we are doing everything we can to restore as quick as we can.
How many? Let's get the numbers straight. There's 100,000 customers still out. You started with 370. And let's get a number of around how many specific linemen and people are in helping you.
Yeah, so with our own, what we call native, which are NIPSCO linemen and workers, and our mutual aid contractors, which are actual electric contractors and other utility workers from other states. And kudos to the utility industry. We send folks when we can to support other disasters and so forth, and they've responded really well. So we have a total of about 2,300 workers that are on site working 24 hours a day. Now there are guys that have to come off on sleep time and other things, because the most important thing that we need to do for our workers and our customers, and I know it is one heck of an inconvenience to be without service, but we want to make sure our workers and our customers too are safe as we restore as much as possible. The inconvenience is one thing, but life safety is the number one priority, Jim.
Okay, so I know Chuck has a couple questions, but I want to get the exact projections. You have been putting out that by Tuesday you would have 90%, and then by Friday you would have 100%. Are those projections still correct?
As of right now, I will tell you yes. We feel confident that we'll meet that. And, I will tell you that the weather has not cooperated great with us since Tuesday. Today looks like a great day. Tomorrow I think will be good too. We're hoping that we get 2 really, really good days of no interruption because of weather. We just released some information last night that talks about some community-specific restorations, and I'll tell you, I'm driving in and I pulled over to take a call with you, Jim, so I don't have those stats right in front of me, but they're pretty open and out there on social media. So we are doing our best to make sure that we stand on that communication that we shared earlier.
Okay, I just want to read this real quick. Off of the statement, they're saying by Tuesday, Beverly Shores, Cedar Lake, Crown Point, Hannah, Hebron, Couts, LaPorte, Long Beach, Lowell, Michigan City, St. John, Schneider, Sumava, and Union Mills. By Wednesday night, looking mostly for DeMont, Hobart, Kingsbury, Kingsford Heights, Maryville, Michiana Shores, Mill Creek, Porter, Shelby, Rolling Prairie, and Wanata, Westville. And then maybe a little bit later on Wednesday by midnight, Chesterton, Dyer, Cherville, Valparaiso. We got 2 major issues out there right now, Rick. We're talking to Rick Kalinsky of NIPSCO. Can you just tell us what happened with the shooting near your workers over the weekend?
Yeah, I'll just say this, Jim. That's unfortunate. What I would ask is, and I'm seeing a lot of great community togetherness, as you kind of mentioned. I was listening coming in, right? Please support your workers. First of all, support your family, your neighbors, and so forth through this tough time. But please support the utility workers that are out there. Help them clear the way. Show them what's out there. What people don't understand is when you have a storm like this magnitude, Jim, usually, we get storms here in Northwest Indiana, and you might get 40, 50, 60, 70,000 people out. And it's a lot of times you can have people out in every community, but a lot of the major damage is regionally based. What we're seeing here is damage everywhere. Essentially, what we're dealing with here is like an inland hurricane. We have an 80 square mile damaged area that some are maybe a little bit worse than others, but everywhere has gotten hit. Unfortunately, we had a situation in Gary. Everybody is safe. There were no injuries. There were no issues. We're not sure exactly what the situation was. There was nothing that we were aware of that anyone was agitated or anything of that nature. But it makes it tough for guys that are out there trying to restore power in communities when they have to look over their back or they're a little bit feared of being somewhere. And so we're coordinating with law enforcement. We have the state police with us. We have the Guard. We have local police supporting us as well. So again, I just encourage our customers, the residents of Northwest Indiana, to band together, make sure that they're supporting our efforts, supporting each other, and allowing everybody to be safe.
Okay, Rick, Chuck Pullen here. We talked to a lineman earlier, Ken, and we were talking about just sort of things that people can do to help the people that are in from out of town. So we talked about, for instance, do your best to clear the road, clear right-of-ways, anything that the community can do, anything that your neighborhood can do. Is definitely appreciated. And, obviously, people can't lift giant trees and things like that, but anything that you can safely do to clear a path is helpful. We talked a little bit about the idea of generators and backfeeding and things like that. Can you just sort of touch on that, just to remind people, just anything that the community can do to help the people that are coming to help them restore power?
Yeah, no. First thing, I'm gonna take that question, Chuck, and remind everybody of safety. If you see wires down, this is a question that we're getting the most from community members, even community leaders. If you see wires down, stay away. Do not attempt to move them. There's going to be a lot of wires and trees. There's a lot of people are uncertain whether it's a communications wire, a cable wire, a live electric circuit. So first and foremost, please do not attempt to touch, move trees with wire in them, no matter what you think that it might be. Again, life safety of Northwest Indiana, our customers, everyone here is the most important thing. But absolutely, Chuck, what I would say is move debris from right of ways if you can. Make sure there are nothing live, no wires anywhere near there. But move trees away from debris and other areas that we may have to access. I will give a shout out to all of our communities. All of them have really been fantastic. They are doing the best they can to clear areas, to really allow our workers to get in there and access, challenging areas. Some of our older northern communities, as many of us know, there's right-of-ways, there's encroachments. People have built, garages and other fences and other things in areas where we've had power lines for years and years. So there are some challenges getting back to stuff. I just want to take an opportunity to kind of explain really quickly the process. When something comes in on Tuesday like it did in the afternoon, and we have, hundreds of thousands of people out immediately within the few hours of the storm, the first thing that we have to do is get on the ground and get our eyes on things. We have helicopters we put up. We're using drones, understanding what the true damage is and how we, again, can safely put together a game plan. That's Tuesday. That's all Tuesday afternoon. That's all Wednesday, really, before we can start really, really putting a good game plan together. I want to give customers a perspective. There are some low-hanging fruit that we can bring back on substations and bring some people back as well. But a lot of people will call and they'll say, hey, I see a line down right in my backyard. You guys come out and fix it and bring back my power. We have to tie in the larger transmission lines first. Those are the steel poles that you see, the very large ones that you see up high with the 70, 80-foot poles. Then you actually get the smaller transmission poles that we have to make sure. Then we have to make sure our substations are ready to go. Then distribution poles that'll feed businesses, that'll feed neighborhoods and so forth. So there is a plan, there is a process, and the smaller outages, unfortunately, sometimes right in communities and backyards are going to be last, because we have to make sure that those areas and those repairs that are made have the power that will be serving those homes and those customers. So hopefully that gives people a little bit of understanding of how that process works.
There's so much out there, Rick, but just you tell us anything else you want people to know.
No, I just want to thank people again, our customers, for the patience. I know it's tough. We know it's tough. Everyone deserves and expects good, reliable energy. And, I can tell you again, I've never seen anything like this. We are doing our best. We will get power restored. We will work hard this week and get everybody restored. We are doing our best. Please stay safe. Appreciate the good information being shared and what you guys do at WJOB. Appreciate all the folks that are looking out for their neighbors to stay safe. I appreciate all of our community partners, government leaders, Everybody is banding together, and please look out. Please look out for our linemen, all of our mutual aid workers. They're there to help you. They're there to get us restored, and we're going to do that as safely and quickly as possible.
Rick Kolinsky, NIPSCO. Thanks for calling in, Rick. We appreciate it. We'll be right back on the voice and face of the region.
I'm Pastor Eric Boone, pastor of the Tree of Life Church here in the great city of Gary, Indiana. The Notre Dame Credit Union. Go beyond and above to make sure that we are in position to make that greater impact. Listen, this credit union is one of a kind, and I'm looking forward to the future because I know that we will continue to do greater things together, and I'm forever grateful for a credit union like this.
Visit NotreDameFCU.com.
Plumbers Local 210 is building the future, and we're looking for service plumbers to join our team. Our training center invests nearly $500,000 every year to make sure our members are the best in the industry. From a 5-year apprenticeship and an associate degree at Ivy Tech to ongoing certifications in safety and new technology, our plumbers are trained for excellence. Every member is drug tested and licensed for your safety and peace of mind. When you need plumbing work done, make sure you ask for the license. It's your right to ask.
We've had some cars run into the barrier wall, not paying attention. They were on their phone.
Texting, scrolling. Yeah, it's bad.
Most often they be on their phones or they're just not paying attention. They can cause a crash.
We could stand on the side of the road and watch every other vehicle looking down into their lap as they're passing us. You know what they're looking at. They're looking at their phone.
Phones. On their phones, not paying attention.
Phones. I'm not a mathematician, but I say probably about 80% of the people who pass me are on their telephones.
No call, text, or video is worth putting yourself or a road worker in danger. When driving through construction, LIUNA members ask you for your sake and ours.
Slow down, stay off your phone, please. Be aware where we're at, where the cone zones are at.
Stay off your phones and buckle up and drive safe.
We're not asking for much.
This is Brian Short, business manager for the Indiana Laborers District Council. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, save a life. We're all in this together.
A message from Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
Have you ever considered becoming an iron worker? Local 395 is now accepting applications for their apprenticeship program. Go to ironworkers395.com. Look under the training section, click on apprenticeship, and scroll down to the application. You must be 18 years old, have a high school diploma or GED, and you must be physically able to perform the work of the trade. Find out more by calling the apprenticeship school in Lake Station at 219-962-7675 or visit ironworkers395.com.
7:33 here in the region. Chuck Pullen here. I talk too much, which I thought was a good thing for radio, but I'm going to throw it to Jim, who's going to manage the next few minutes. Go ahead.
Soft feelings. 294 around the city looks pretty good. 80 going east and west looks good. Bishop Ford, Dan Ryan, Skyway, Toll Road, Borman, I-65 are all moving along well. What do you got in the weather?
Good morning, everyone. Today we're at 70 degrees with highs of 77 and lows of 62. It's going to be not as warm with lower humidity and some sun and some clouds. Tomorrow and Tuesday we'll be having highs of 80 and lows of 66. Should be humid with intervals of clouds and sunshine. A thunderstorm in the area late this afternoon. And then Wednesday we'll be having highs of 78 and lows of 60. Should be partly sunny and humid with a thunderstorm in 1 or 2 spots.
A couple of house cleaning things. We're in the middle. We start football on Friday night. We have aggregated several media, including media that you would never think would be on the same platform, and it's all on the Heartland Sports Network. We have 26 schools that are our partners, so I think we have 5 media and 26 schools now. And my goal and my mission and Sam Michael's goal and mission has been just very singular in that we want to build a mini Big Ten network here, and it'll be the model for everybody across America for high schools. And that wasn't our idea. We've sent several people to Big Ten. We sent people to Barstool, Nike, ESPN now, and they all come back with the exact same thing. Jed, Sam, you guys can build a mini Big Ten network for high schools. And in our first year last year as Heartland Sports Network, because of the many people like NIPSCO and Rick Kolinsky and others that gave us money to put those games on, we gave $50,000 back to the local high schools. And if you want to be part of it, it's a movement. You may not know about it, but you get amazing CPM and you do something really good in the community. So just get a hold of me. I'm the main salesperson. That's why I don't do the show anymore. and it's Jed at WJOB1230.com. First game Friday night. You could be on it. Also, the first game of IU football, which you are also be on. So we basically put the TV and the radio and social. Steve Hanlon has joined us, and he's putting together basically a secondary. I know everybody kind of goes to the Times, but we're putting together another outlet that would be the local option. And Hanlon, who used to work over there, is now our main guy there. Also, Bleaves has joined us. Please go, if you love the Bears, go to Bleaves on YouTube. He was supposed to appear at Bridges on Saturday, but they had to all cancel that. But Bleaves is a local guy, married a local gal, and is a good friend of mine. And he got 6.7 million views last month, mainly talking about where the stadium's going to go. But we also have something coming up right now with Joel Radijak. Joel has been a good friend of the station for a long time. Let's give his promo real quick. Joel, how are you, buddy?
Good. How are you guys doing?
All right. Chuck's not allowed to talk because we got to do this quick. He'll be too long, so I'm going to do it. Joel, you got a big thing coming up. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so we've got our 15th annual Rockapelli Music Festival coming up this Saturday at Bulldog Park in Crown Point. It's going to be 3:30 to 10:30, and we're going to be hosting Robert Randolph, Delvon Lamar, Calvin Rogers, Joe Marcinek. It's going to be a great lineup of musicians. As always, we're giving back to the community, and we feel like, what better time to have Rockapelli after everything that happened last week. It's a good thing for people to come together, enjoy something to look forward to after the difficult storms and just, everything that's kind of been the fallout afterwards. So we're really looking forward to it and would love for everyone to come out.
Joel, why do you do this?
Sorry, what was that?
Yeah, Joel, why do you do this? I know it's tough for you to hear, so I'll say it again. Why do you?
Why do you do
Rockapelli?
Sorry. So 15 years ago when we started it, we were looking really just for a way to give back. A few friends of mine and I were playing in bands. We wanted to find a way to help those who, needed a little extra support. Our friends over at Planting Possibilities were just getting started with their own nonprofit organization and work very closely, have known the Niners who started Planting Possibilities since I was born. And we just kind of felt like it was a natural fit for us to have a concert and use everything that we earned from that concert to give back to them. It was supposed to be kind of a one-off event, and 15 years later, we're still doing it, still supporting Planting Possibilities, still supporting a number of other charities in the region, Community Help Network, Food Bank of Northwest Indiana, Operation Charlie Bravo. I mean, plenty of charities who we've been supporting for a long time now, and we also have our own music scholarship program called Pelly Play, where we give music scholarships to local students in Northwest Indiana, grade school and high school ages.
What time again on Saturday?
It's 3:30 to 10:30 on Saturday.
And where should they park? I mean, where should they park? I mean, give some more details. How much is it to get in? All that stuff.
Yeah. So parking, there's plenty of parking around Bulldog Park and throughout the square in the town. As far as tickets go, so we, considering everything that happened last week with the storms, and we know people are struggling to just kind of get everything back on track, we decided tomorrow we're going to host a 24-hour ticket sale where guests can get a $10 GA ticket online on our website at rockapellyfest.org. Usually they're $20, but again, tomorrow, Tuesday, the 18th, we will be selling $10 GA tickets, and kids under 12 are free.
All right. Joel Radijak, great work. Maybe we'll do it again on Friday just to remind people, okay?
That sounds great. Thanks so much, Jim. Thanks, Chuck. Thanks, everyone at WJOB. You guys always have been great to us and really appreciate the partnership.
Joel Radijak, thanks a lot. 219-845-1100. And if let's take a phone call, but we're waiting for a call from North Township here, and I will tell you this number. But right now, just take the next caller, would you please? Go ahead.
Yes, am I on?
Do you want to be on? Do you want to be on or no? Yeah, you're on.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I do. I just wasn't sure if I was.
Yeah, all right, go ahead.
I got just a just a regular kind of question. We got our power back on Saturday night here in Southwest Hammond, thanks to NIPSCO. I had a question. The one guy in Dyer was talking about where someplace where you might take all your food waste from your refrigerators. And is there something like that in Hammond where we could take our food waste? I got like 7 bags of stuff. And, boy, that's going to go out on Tuesday night, and that's going to be a mess on every single house. And I was wondering if there's someplace where I could take the stuff, somewhere around Hammond and dump it myself.
I don't know the answer.
Knows anything like that going on in Hammond?
I do not know the answer to that. I'll tell you this, and just in general, being in and around the city of Hammond, they do such a great job with municipal services. I mean, this is just me off the top of my head. You got one of those big plastic bins that hold your garbage, right? I'm guessing that,
yeah, the regular one.
you can't fit all the bags in there is what you're saying. I don't know the answer. My first inclination is, they're going to be out in full force in Hammond picking up the garbage, and you should be okay, but you don't want that stuff hanging around your house until when's your garbage day? When's your garbage day?
Yeah, it's Wednesday morning.
All right, so that's a long time to be sitting with it. Let's just put it out there.
Yeah, that's going to be every house.
Yeah, and I don't know the answer of where you could take that and get rid of it. So let's just put it out there to people in Hammond and in any of the other municipalities. I'm in the same way. I've got bags. I had to empty 2 refrigerators, and that's got to be.
It's a good question.
Yeah, it's a great question. How's your house?
Oh, we're coming back. We're fine now. Like I say, we came up on Saturday night. Thank somebody. I got a couple other things I wanted to mention too, since I'm on. That federal aid has already been approved for Indiana. That was on the news yesterday. So you guys seem like you're not aware of that.
Well, no. So here, there's a designation. So hang on. Let's clarify. The counties. So there are different levels of declarations. So our county was declared a disaster area from the governor through the president. But because there is such widespread damage, remember, besides Lake County, right now there is major flooding in Indianapolis, major flooding in the eastern part of the state.
Yeah, this was for the whole state.
Well, okay. Well,
this was for the whole state of Indiana.
Okay, so so
you can check that out.
We'll check on that. But
yesterday.
Okay. Well. Again,
we'll address that. There's different levels, and you are correct. Governor Brunt came to this radio station, came and sat down and announced what he had done. But there is another level of federal declaration that we're looking for. And
as of now, I don't know. Maybe she's right, but as of yesterday, it was just the county. I mean, again, there's multiple layers, but regardless, there's no red tape. So regardless of as yesterday, today, tomorrow, we will be declared a disaster area in the county. We've been declared. The state will be declared a disaster area. And again, it's just minutia. But at the end of the day, we're being declared a disaster, and that's a good thing to free up resources.
And listen, once we get those specifics, we'll have, we had NIPSCO here, and we'll have, right now we're going to have the North Township person on. We will have that information as soon as it becomes available. And you can also check out Region News Source on Facebook, and Paul Goddard will have it. Between us and Paul Goddard, you can pretty much get all the information that you need. But we'll get the exact what you're looking for. Okay?
But the main thing that we want people to know, document everything. If you had flooding in the basement, if you had any kind of damage, a tree, make sure you take a bunch of pictures, make sure you document things that got thrown away, because as part of that declaration, at some point, again, Jim and I have been through this with FEMA in 2008, at some point people will come in and you need to work with them and document, here's what happened to my house, here's what happened to my basement, here's what I had to throw away. So just document everything, document any damage, document, because there will be a time that you'll need to relay that information to get some relief. So just document everything.
Thank you for the phone call.
Okay, I got a couple more things I want to mention, if you don't mind. A good place to charge your phones up, Hammond Public Library. They were giving away free water and popcorn last week, and they got multiple plug-ins. And the other thing, what about that township? Was there something about $100 they were supposed to be for North Township, and you got to fill out a form? Is that true?
Hold on a second. We're going to have the township person on in the next 10 or 15 minutes, okay? So I will ask that. What are their resources? All right, I got to let you go.
Going around.
Yeah, thank you for the phone call, 219-845-11. We got to clear a line so that the township can call in. But anyways, let's take the next call. Hey, you're on the air.
Jimmy, how you doing, brother?
Good. Talk to us.
Hey, regarding the garbage, all you got to do is wait till about 9:30. It's dark out. The generators are humming. You take that stuff, walk right down the alley, 10 houses down. You let them handle it. You just leave it right there. You're covered. Now, regarding the stuff with NIPSCO, did NIPSCO change their rules of engagement? Are they allowed now to shoot back when they're shot at anymore? Because it turns out it wasn't just 2 shots that hit the car. It was like 16 shots these little guys dragged off. They only hit the car like 2 or 3 times. So are NIPSCO guys allowed to carry now to protect themselves in Gary?
So I'm going to try to redirect here. Your general feeling about NIPSCO workers allegedly being shot at. What are you trying to say?
Allegedly? Jimmy, there's bullet holes in the car. It was on TV. I don't think the NIPSCO guys did that themselves.
Okay, hold on a second. I'm asking you a question.
From another town, as Matlock did?
I'm asking you a question, okay? I have to say allegedly or I can't get reinsured, okay? So I don't want to hear that. I want to hear your general feeling about what the world is seeing as our workers going into Gary and getting shot at.
They're seeing the truth. That's simple. Matlock calls in and blames other kids from another neighborhood? No, Mr. Matlock. That's your people. Stick with them. NIPSCO should pull out of there in a blink. That's unbelievable. And then, I don't know if you saw the video, Jimmy, the chief of police from Gary said, well, maybe we didn't know what that car was doing. You know, it could have been a mistaken thing. We're not sure why he was there at that time. The word NIPSCO is right on the side of the car. What do you think he's doing? Coming to steal generators? They're coming there to save you people.
All right, you got two pretty deep. Hold on. All right, slow down. You got two pretty deep things you have just said. One is, what do you mean by your people? And number two, you want NIPSCO to not give power to, you want NIPSCO to like leave Gary and just leave people without power? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they go over to Dyer, take care of Bob's place. Because I think Bob Starkey over in Gary or over in Dyer, I don't think he's going to allow the people of the town to shoot at NIPSCO people. So go to an area and get it done where it's safe. And when everybody's done, they can do those folks last. And they can come with bulletproof and bring the National Guard with. Can you imagine that, Jimmy, trying to justify this? And like I said, the chief of police from Gary said, well, maybe the shooters didn't know what the car was doing there. Maybe they thought, it's hard to tell. In the middle of the night at 1 a.m., when you're sitting there with your 22 and you got nothing to do and there's no targets and, well, hey, look, there's a car. Let's shoot at that. Are you kidding me? And then you try to defend that? Come on, Jimmy. And by the way, when Walt calls in to make his point, He's 1,000% right on the nose. We can't spend money stupidly enough in this area.
Hey, it's definitely something. All right, we're done. Thanks a lot. We got stuff to do. 219-845-1100. Certainly, we can have the discussions that you would like to have, but not today. Okay. It's tone deaf. It's like the Bears having a press conference in the middle of a catastrophe of an 80 square mile area, and they hold a press conference to say, well, Illinois, just think about it. We're just focusing on Hammond. It's like a pity cry, and that was incredibly tone deaf. And so is that line of discussion right now. That's just how it is. I got to go.
Okay. Sooner or later, things will get back to normal. And Walt, Mad Mag, we can call back. We can rehash all these things. But in the meantime, our goal today is to get information out to people. So why don't you want to go?
No. Hey, I just want to say a couple of things.
Okay. Well,
I got to take this. Hold on a second. Nikki, you are on the air with me on my phone, and I'm just going to take it through the phone because we have too many calls. We're talking to Nikki Micah with now North Township. Nikki, tell us how things have been going on at the township.
It's been a little chaotic to say the least, but we're working through. Our Hammond office still doesn't have computers or internet service, so it's putting a little extra work on us. But it's going to be a slow process, but we're going. I just wanted to give you an update. As we have been bombarded. So applications for the food vouchers are going to be accepted Monday through Thursday at our and Hammond offices.
That's at the East Chicago office. All right, go ahead. That was cut out. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. At our East Chicago 2100 Broadway and our Hammond office at 5947 Homan. And that's Monday through Wednesday from 9:30 to 4 p.m.
All right, so let me reiterate that, okay? Mm-hmm. Just everybody that's calling in, what's North Township, blah, blah, blah. It's 9:30 to 4. It's today. It starts at 9:30, and then it goes through From
Monday through Wednesday.
All right, so you got to get over there. It's going to be long lines on both East Chicago and Hammond, and they get over there, and what are they in line for, Nikki?
They will be giving an application as they're in line, and they complete it while they're in line, and they will submit it today. We have to take a copy of their valid Indiana state ID or driver's license. And then Thursday and Fridays from 9:30 to 4, we will be distributing Strax gift cards at $50 each.
All right, so you put the application in Monday through Wednesday, and then you get your Strax gift card on Thursday and Friday.
So we will call you. Staff will call everyone who turns in applications because we literally have over 1,200 applications just from Friday alone. So let me reiterate it again. Applications will be given out, and you turn them back in Monday through Wednesday from 9:30 to 4 p.m. You will receive a call when to come pick them up, and the card distribution will be on Thursdays and Fridays from 9:30 to 4 p.m.
All right, there's the answer to the woman's question. Now, I just happen to know that Jeff Strack and the rest of the intelligentsia have gone above and beyond in making.
Yes, they have, and we are immensely appreciated. Just because, of the service, the lack of service that we have here still in Hammond. East Chicago just went back on yesterday. For us to process vouchers through our system, it takes a while. And like I said, Friday between both offices, we had over 1,200 people alone. So we're trying to catch up on that, hence the certain dates designated for applications and then card distribution.
All right. Anything else?
I just really ask people to be patient with us. You know, we are all in this together. We're still fighting the same battles with power, like, you know, everyone else. Some worse, some less. But we are here to service the people. We just really ask for some patience. Make sure when you come to our offices, make sure you have a valid Indiana state ID or driver's license. And I have to reiterate, because we had a lot of people from out of town, like Maryville, Gary, and other cities and towns outside of the North Township. The North Township consists of the communities of Whiting, East Chicago, Hammond, Griffith, Highland, and Munster. If you do not reside in any of those 3 cities or 3 towns, please contact your local township, as they are providing assistance. I don't know exactly what it is, but those residents should contact their own local township, because we cannot serve anyone outside of the North Township.
And this got together so quickly through the cooperation of Jeff Strack and Adrian Santos. So they put that together yesterday. And so you're getting it out as quickly as you can. All right, Nikki, thanks a lot for the phone call. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, so here's the deal. I want to say thank you also to Brian Lowry at Calumet College. We have football coming up. I got a lot of clients that want to be part of giving back to local high schools. And so I had to process a lot of that. So he gave me an office at Cal College last week, and I got to go there again today. I have so much stuff to do. You're doing a great job, Chuck Pullen, like always. I want to, just say thank you. But there's so many things like this, like North Township, like Strack and Van Til giving away stuff, like NIPSCO giving away stuff, like the butcher in downtown Griffith. What's his name? I forget his name. He's my son-in-law's good friend. And they cooked up all their food, and they gave it away for free. There are things that we're going to have to deal with. There's going to be delays. There's going to be people suing each other. There's going to be, you can't get through a neighborhood because there's too many cars and you're a gawker. All of these things are going to happen, okay? And you're going to be dissatisfied with government. You're going to blame it on Democrats, or you're going to blame it on Republicans, whatever it is. I just say that we got to get through this week. You heard Rick Kalinsky. He said not everybody's going to be back until Friday. All right? That means there's a lot of people that are hurting. There's 100,000 people still out right now. That's not people. That's customers. 2.5 per house. It's 250,000 people still hurting. And they got no power, and they got big piles of stumps and debris in their front yards. Now, I do say thank you to NIPSCO there, Kalinsky. Thanks to Nikki for getting a hold of us. Thanks to Governor Braun. Thanks to Mervan. Thanks to a lot of the people. All right, she wants to tell me one more thing. All right, I know it is. All right, Nikki, what'd you forget to say? You're on the air.
I sure did. I sure did forget. It's important for me to announce that this is all on a first-come, first-served basis while supplies last.
All right, I'm going to leave it there. I do know some more information, but just Jeff Strack was very instrumental, along with Adrian, putting that together yesterday, and we will follow that. Bleaves is here, which means I got to talk football for a little while. But I want to say thank you to you.
Here?
It's the Bleaves, right?
And I'm saying, are you guys coming in here?
No, we're going to
Calumet.
Calumet.
Okay, I say, because I'm kind of out of my element. You guys want to talk football?
No, we're going to go to Calumet College right now. And Cal College, you have been amazing. They gave us me and Bleaves and Sam Michael and others. We did not have enough internet here to upload videos, and we definitely had to do that. That's all I want to say is that let's keep focus one day at a time, one show at a time, and one release of information. We're all doing our best right now. Let's get through Friday. And that is all I'm saying. I've been through this before. You got to go one day at a time, and you got to keep the focus on servicing people that need it and on giving kudos where it belongs. Then we can dissect who's at fault, who's a bad person, what government entity, All that stuff can be done at a later date, and it will be done at a later date, but not now, not here. That's not what we're doing. Chuck, take it away for the next whatever. I got to go.
It's 8 o'clock in the region. You're listening to AM 1230, 104.7 FM. We've got full phone lines. So we're going to take a break. We'll be back. We're going to take your phone calls right after this.
Tech Credit Union supports the essential role of union labor in building strong communities. That's why we offer hassle-free banking, financial empowerment, and a commitment to your success. Save for the future, handle life's challenges, and trust a partner that stands by hardworking union members. Tech Credit Union, the better option for you and your money. Visit techcu.org or call 800-276-8324. Tech Credit Union, supporting union families every step of the way.
We've had some cars run into the barrier wall, not paying attention. They were on their phone.
Texting, scrolling. Yeah, it's bad.
Most often they be on their phones or they're just not paying attention. They can cause a crash.
We could stand on the side of the road and watch every other vehicle looking down into their lap as they're passing us. You know what they're looking at. They're looking at their phone.
Phones. On their phones, not paying attention.
Phones.
I'm not a mathematician, but I say probably about 80% of the people who pass me are on their telephones.
No call, text, or video is worth putting yourself or a road worker in danger. When driving through construction, LIUNA members ask you for your sake and ours.
Slow down, stay off your phone, please. Be aware where we're at, where the cone zones are at.
Stay off your phones and buckle up and drive safe.
We're not asking for much.
This is Brian Short, Business Manager for the Indiana Laborers District Council. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, save a life. We're all in this together.
A message from Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
Do you like to work with your hands, creating something from nothing? Then think about Laborers Local 41. You'll get 432 hours of apprenticeship training, all while earning a wage with benefits and incurring no student debt. You'll travel to different job sites, learn tons of skills, and in a lot of cases, be the first one on and last one off a job site. It all starts at laborers41.com.
Enjoy the taste of summer at the Farmers Market at Fox Point. Every Tuesday from 9 to 1, shop locally grown fresh produce, delicious baked goods, artisanal treats, and local culinary creations. Just minutes from I-8094, the Farmers Market at Fox Point in Lansing, Illinois is a perfect spot to hear acoustic musicians, stretch with morning yoga, and enjoy community fun throughout the season. To see all vendors and entertainment, visit foxpoint.org. That's point with an E, foxpoint.org.
Hey, it's 8:02 in the region. Let's take a quick look at traffic and weather, and then we'll be taking your phone calls here at 219-845-1100. Okay, so here in Indiana, 8094-65 Skyway Toll Road, everything looking good. Illinois side, everything looking good. We got a little, just the usual slowdown, Bishop Ford and the Dan Ryan. Dan Ryan's a little heavy Skyway on in. Other than that, everything else on the Illinois side looking good. If you're one of those people that takes the back way, takes the boulevard into like the south side, there's some road work on the boulevard. Just be aware of that, but no major issues there. Lynette, how's the weather?
Good morning, everyone. Today we're at 71 degrees with highs of 77 and lows of 62. It's going to be not as warm with lower humidity with sun and some clouds. And tomorrow and Tuesday we'll be having highs of 80 and lows of 66. Should be humid with intervals of clouds and sunshine. A thunderstorm in the area late in the afternoon. Then Wednesday we'll be having highs of 78 and lows of 60. Should be partly sunny and humid with a thunderstorm in one or two spots.
Fantastic. Let's get right to the phone. So let's start hitting them. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Good morning, caller. They fell asleep. We made them wait too long. Okay. Go ahead and call back. Let's hit the next one. And remember, we are running on Wi-Fi. So again, everything's a little spotty at the moment. Thanks to Ben Cowart for getting all that worked out, getting us back on the air for that. So good morning, caller.
Morning, Chuck.
Good morning, sir.
Just want to give a quick update on the first district of Gary. Just absolute carnage. And you noticed, I sent you the text, the list that Jed read, Gary wasn't on the list.
Yeah, I noticed that when you pointed it out. You're right.
Everything that we've been told in the first district is Friday or beyond because of not anything else other than just a massive amount of trees in extremely difficult places. That's going to be what makes it so difficult to get all the lines re-energized. The three districts of Glen Ryan, Etna, and Miller, Glen Ryan and Miller are absolutely devastated. We're talking hundreds of people in those two communities are displaced. I drove through with Jim Weissman yesterday, Etna and Glen Ryan, and there was no less than, we counted 26 homes that are completely destroyed. Not just nicked, completely destroyed, uninhabitable. Those are going to be complete territories. So there's, and where I live, we still don't have power. I have a generator, and, getting by, right? We're just kind of getting by, but it's just all you hear is that constant drone of whole house generators in the community. But the people of Glen Ryan and Etna, they don't have that luxury. These are people that don't even have homes anymore, and with this, the constant rain, these people's homes are completely lost. So my heart goes out to them. Been doing a lot of volunteering. Kathy's volunteering at the food pantry today. They normally have 150 households Monday to St. Mary's of the Lake Church. They're estimating over 300, so more than double. They're going to come to the food pantry today. So there's a lot of people out there hurting. I'm grateful. I have a lot of friends in Crown Point, Sherrville, family out there. They got their power back. They're newer communities with buried cables, which I can get on my soapbox and say everything should be underground.
Right.
But, in a lot of communities, they're still putting wires on sticks. So,
well, again, I mean, that's a difference between, but let's talk about that just to, again, kind of reiterate this. I mean, in my neighborhood, we have underground power lines, but we also have pretty wide open, backyards. Even when I was in Munster, we had pretty open backyards. We had space to work. When you have some of these older communities, you have, basically just houses sort of butted up against each other. The power lines go right through people's yards. You can't just drive back there and pick up a tree. And, a lot of these guys are saying we need specialized equipment to be, short of either we come in and tear down like every fence in the neighborhood to get to it, or we find ways to work around it and get in there. And so that means bringing in cranes that can reach basically up and over the houses to get to those backyard power poles. So again, unique circumstances for every community. Let's hit a couple things, Dave.
Yeah, there was one.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Dave.
There was one very large crane. There's a lot of new homes in the Etna section, and there was a crane literally set up in the middle of the street, lifting a tree off the back of a home. So you're absolutely right. A lot of this is property density and census density. So you called it. It's a little more widespread. A little bit more breathing room south of 30, where older communities north of 30, there's still a lot of density, and you could talk to your neighbors from window to window in Gary and a lot of communities. So that's what I had to say. So go ahead, Chuck.
So let's hit a couple things. So, for instance, there is going to be at the Hudson Campbell Sports and Fitness Center on Massachusetts Street, there's going to be a bucket brigade today where Lowe's and Mayor Melton will be giving away buckets of cleaning supplies. So if you're looking for cleaning supplies, if you're in the Gary area, head over to Hudson and Campbell Sports at 3 o'clock today. It goes without saying, but I think it's just worth mentioning because you're in that area. So the Gary Air Show has been canceled as well. So people were looking forward to that, obviously, because of just everything going on. It was just not the right time to have the air show. So the air show, which I think was that coming
that was
up
a smart decision. I don't know. Yeah, it was going to be this weekend. Now I don't know if that was Mayor Melton or the South Shore Convention and Visitors Bureau that made that call.
Right. But regardless,
they do most of the work. So,
right?
Yeah, I could see them canceling.
Right, but again, we don't want a bunch of people coming to your neighborhood looking for an air show that's not there, right? You know what I mean? We don't want a bunch of people coming to the neighborhood when they're trying to clean up looking for the air show. So the air show's been canceled. There's a couple locations to get free meals, 8 Days of Hope and First Metropolitan Builders. And so again, check Facebook, stuff like that. There are places that are going to be offering food. And again, we talked about just we're going to do our best here on WJLB to just kind of relay any information about what townships are doing, again, Strax, all these different organizations. A lot of people are stepping up. So we'll try to communicate as best we can and, how people can get some help if they need it. So Dave, thank you so much for checking in.
There's a lot of churches. Yeah. There's a lot of churches in the first district, Etna, Glen Ryan. There's more in the Miller section. These faith-based organizations, they're offering food. They're cooking food, and it's kind of a drive-up situation. You're not going to get steak and potatoes, right? You're going to get a hot dog, hamburger, drink, and some chips. But you know what? For a lot of people, that's a very important meal. So I cannot be more proud of all the churches in the first district and throughout the city that are just opening their doors and giving meals away to people that desperately need it. Like I said, people that lost absolutely everything. And we just don't foresee any lights coming on anytime soon.
Yeah.
Hang in there.
The other
Thanks,
thing,
Chuck.
just to mention, starting at noon today, if you're in Gary, you can go to the Gary YWCA on 15th Avenue. They're going to be serving food from noon to 6 o'clock this evening. So if you're one of those people in that area, all your food's gone bad, you're looking for a meal, so go to the Gary YWCA on 15th Avenue today in the after 12 o'clock, and they'll be serving meals as well. So, Dave, thank you so much for checking in. Appreciate it. Keep us updated on how things are going out in the Miller section of Gary. So thank you so much for that. Let's get to another phone call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, Chuck, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Hey, tell me about NISA.
Jim walked out. Jim would be the guy to talk about that. Just remind next time he's on, why don't you ask him? Because that's a discussion that we need to keep hammering home. We need to keep having that discussion about communication, who's in charge, hierarchy, chain of command, all of these things. We talked about it in 08, and like Dave Kuziak said earlier, we talked about it, it never happened. Now this is the time, once we get everything cleaned up and put back together, we need to have a serious conversation about communications, fusion centers, who's in charge, who's talking to who. Again, even keeping WJLB in the loop. I shouldn't have to go on Facebook. Jim went on the radio and Kuziak, I was literally sending them Facebooks. Here's what Facebook is saying. We shouldn't have to do that. We should have communication, two-way communication, and it shouldn't have to be this way. But what are your thoughts?
No, I want to hear about NISA. And since we got to push sports on WJOB in the middle of all this, I want somebody associated with NISA to take the podium like a football coach does after a loss and say, I'm responsible for this. We kiss their rear end and mention so many names of NISA. Oh, I did this and I did that and blah, blah, blah. I want somebody to take the podium and go, yeah, I'm making $150,000 a year and I dropped the ball.
So besides that, again, let's reiterate my thoughts from earlier. All of the local communities have done a great job individually communicating what's going on. Towns like Dyer, Bob Starkey, all of these other local towns and cities, they've been stepping up. They've been helping their community. The private sector has been stepping up. Faith-based organizations have been stepping up. But there's all of these other layers of government. I'm calling you out, NERPC. I'm calling you out, RDA. I'm calling out the layers of government above communities and cities and saying, what the hell are you doing? You spend all your time building bike trails and roundabouts. You guys have your luncheons and your ribbon cuttings and talk about all this stuff that you build, the shiny objects. But when it comes time for us to come together, when you have organizations like that, where are you? Where are all of these organizations, all of these layers of appointed government that you have all of these events and all of these meetings about? Where are you when stuff like this happens? Who is in charge right now? I'm going to ask that over and over again. Who's in charge right now? Because I don't know.
You'll be the only one on this station to assess this situation and say who is in charge, because nobody else will do it. And this is a failure on those people at the top. Take the podium.
Oh, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Again, at the end of the day, I think everybody on the multiple layers of government, from local government officials, Governor Braun came in right away. President Trump declared us this county specifically a disaster area over the weekend. So again, at the end of the day, as the guy who criticizes government, I got to say, other than the communications aspect, other than the questions of who's in charge and why do we not have fusion centers, why do I, as a member of the media, and Jim Diedlow and Dave Kuziak need to go on Facebook to get information I mean, I appreciate all of the different people that are calling in and giving us information, but this idea that we don't have a central repository, somebody that can basically relay information to us as it happens, is absolutely ridiculous in 2026 that we don't have that. I mean, I literally, for those of you that weren't listening, I was sitting in my driveway on Facebook with Jim having, a cell phone to a microphone, and I was reading Facebook. Here's what Dyer's saying. Here's what Griffith's saying, et cetera, because we don't have a central communications hub in a situation like this. And that needs to change, because that's not the way to do business. We were fortunate. The radio station had power but no data. I had data but no power. We came together and we gave out the information we could. We told you how to get home. We told you what roads were open. We told you what was going on. But again, at the end of the day, we have too many layers of government to have everybody sitting on their thumbs going, we don't know who, we don't know who's in charge. No. That's got to end. That's got to end. And once we get things put back together and cleaned up, that's got to be the focus. We need to hit every layer of government and say who's in charge. I mean, again, Bob Starkey earlier called in, was critical of NIPSCO's communication. Again, I'm not going to be critical of NIPSCO because I think they are one cog in the wheel. It's not NIPSCO's job to put together a fusion center to do those things. They are communicating. Everybody's communicating the best they can. We need central communications. We need a hierarchy. We need a chain of command. We need to know who's in charge when things like this happen. Take some more phone calls, 219-845. We're good? We cleared all the phone lines. Okay. So if anybody's been waiting, trying to get through, 219-845-1100. This is sort of just the last few minutes of the show. We're going to we've got open phone lines finally. If there's anything that anybody would like to relay, anything like that, now is your time to check in. Obviously, we'll be here all week keeping you updated on outages. The next NIPSCO update isn't expected for a couple more hours, so we don't have like a morning update, other than we just know that it's going to be throughout the week. We're going to have restorations Tuesday, Wednesday, throughout the week. Different communities should be restored. But again, they're saying it might be up to the weekend before we have 90+% restoration. So again, there's certain areas that got hit harder than others. Dave mentioned Gary. There's certain areas that just, because of a combination of the geography, the infrastructure, they're going to be out, possibly longer than a week. There may be individual houses that you may be out for a while. And, obviously there's lots of resources for you. Let's take some calls. Good morning, caller, on the air.
Oh, hey there, Chuck. No one can say your fashion sense is out of whack. Your shirt is lovely today.
Thank you for acknowledging. My wife got me this cotton candy shirt. I've been dying for this. She finally got me one because, again, I like to be fashionable on the air. I didn't think we were going to be on video. I was disappointed. My wife got me this cotton candy shirt. I didn't get to wear it. But I like to, I'm a guy I like to pop. I think the blue cotton candy matches my eyes, and we look good in here with all the colors. So, our resident, what do you call yourself? Cryptozoologist? Is that what we call it? Resident cryptozoologist? Bob?
How'd you know it was me?
I just guessed. I know your voice.
Yeah, cryptozoologist, paranormal investigator. That's fair. Paranormal investigator, cryptozoologist, the spooky guy on Tuesday nights.
So again, we talked earlier to Joel Radijak about they're having Rockapelli this weekend. You're going to be on. Hopefully things are back together enough that I'm going to say you and Count Panic can come in and do a show tomorrow night on a limited basis. Probably not going to be able to.
That's the plan.
So that's the plan. You guys come in. Again, we need stuff like that. We need people to come in, and we need some relief from everything going on. So it'll be fun to have you guys back on the air and to kind of get things back to normal. I heard Dave and Gino this weekend doing their show and kind of just keeping people informed, but also playing some music. But why don't you tell us real quick, just how you're in the Whiting area. How are things in your area? How are things looking for you?
I normally don't get political, Chuck. You know this.
I know this. I know this very well.
But I have to do it today.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
This is a rarity.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get me to go political today. When our power went out, so our power stayed on through the storm and the following day, which we are blessed to have. But then for whatever reason, the following day after the storm, our power went out at 6:30 in the morning exactly. Not a minute earlier, not a minute before, but 6:30 in the morning our power went out. And there was no rhyme or reason. The storm was over. We had power throughout it. Now, when you call NIPSCO, which NIPSCO is going to be busy, understandable, but there was no local political thing in Whiting, no political person in Whiting coming forward and saying something on their Facebook page about the power situation. However, they were more interested in construction on the railroad tracks going into Whiting Park at the time when people were devastated. So that was my thing, and that might get me in trouble later.
No, you're fine. I mean, again, here's what I say: everybody gets a pass when something like this happens. So even you get a pass. But again, we want people to hear this. We want, again, I think like my friend Bob Starkey, Councilman Starkey, has done a great job communicating. If there are people that are falling short, they need to hear that. They need to hear, this is what we're looking for. So again, as you brought it up, I haven't mentioned it, South Shore relatively back to normal. So if you're South Shore rider, you should be good, until the next wind blows through, but South Shore is back on normal schedule. But Bob, I mean, so this is the thing. I mean, so I will kind of explain real quick what I think happened. A lot of times what happens is, and I saw this in my own neighborhood, there are times when, we had active lines down in the street that were still working, right? I mean, there are lines that were down in the street and the power to the houses that they were going to were still on. And I talked to those people and they said, we know that they're going to have to turn my power off to clear this line. And I just, it's like one of those things. They need to cut the line, resplice it, run it around the damage, whatever, and then put it back together. So again, in a lot of cases, that's what happens, is that they assess the damage and they say, hey, we're going to have to shut off power because at the end of the day, there are guys in cranes, there are guys in bucket trucks. And, again, they have to make that hard decision. We're going to, the power is working in this neighborhood, but we need to turn it off for a while so our guys can safely work and clear some trees. So again, it's frustrating. I agree. I mean, even in my neighborhood,
that's understandable.
Yeah.
And sorry.
No, as I say, no, feel free.
I was going to say, I appreciate hearing that from you. But, it would have been nice for one of our political heads to come around and check on the locals and make sure everybody's okay. That's just, it makes no sense to me.
Right. I mean, again,
I appreciate when I got a chance to see what, go on.
No, go ahead. There's a little delay. So because of the Wi-Fi. So no, go ahead, finish your thought and I'll jump in.
Oh no, of course. I'm not used to being on this side of the phone,
right,
Chuck. I woke up this morning and I had an itch that needed scratched. So I needed to call in. I just don't understand why our local here in my town didn't get involved like other local towns did. That makes no sense to me. And the logic is half the city had power. Well, half the city didn't for more than 24 hours, and there was nobody coming to check to make sure everybody was okay. There was one Facebook post at the time. Maybe things have changed, but like I said, they were more interested in the construction going on at Whiting Park than they were anything else, and that's just sad. And I mean, I was blessed. I got my power back in 24 hours. I know there's still people plenty without power, especially here in Whiting too. And it baffles me, that our town versus others. I saw Highland. I kept up with Paul Goddard's stuff. All these other cities had their local governments out checking on their people. We didn't. I mean, we didn't get hit hard by the storm, but power out, Right. That's just my 2 cents.
No, I absolutely agree. Thank you so much for checking in. That's Bob Anderson, Bob After Dark. He'll be back tomorrow night with Count Tony Panic here on WGOB. Bring a little change of pace on WGOB. We always talk about, it's funny because, like Bob and I are sort of polar opposites when it comes to, I talk about the serious stuff, they talk about the fun stuff, but sometimes there's some crossovers. I've been on your show a few times and we've had good discussion. So appreciate you checking in. And again, I think, all feedback is good feedback right now. So I appreciate you checking in and talk about what's going on in your neck of the woods up in Whiting. So thank you so much. Let's take the next call. Good morning, caller. You are on the air.
Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you? What's going on?
I'm not doing that good. I live in Dyer. Actually, where I live, there is this pole that is about to fall in front of our entrance of the street. We live in a cul-de-sac, so that's our only way to go in and out from our street. We've been calling NISCO. They haven't done nothing about it. If this pole falls, how we are going to get out from our street? There is no way, because the pole has cables that they go from. There is 3 poles that they are damaged, one after other one after other one. And these big corporations, they don't care about us. Let me tell you, I have a damaged pole that is rotten in my backyard. I've been dealing with this problem for more than a year because I called NISCO to report it, and they told me that this pole is owned by AT&T, and they can do nothing about it. But there is there is electric wire, there is a transformer there. So then I call AT&T, and after like 100 calls, they came, put a new pole. But guess what? The old pole and everything is still there. Nothing has been done. These big corporations, they don't care about you or me.
Well, okay, so let's go through that real quick because you're in Dyer. So we had your council president, Bob Starkey, was on earlier today, and he was talking about he sent a letter to NIPSCO, which is getting a lot of attention, and he said a lot of what you just said. He feels like the town of Dyer is being neglected by NIPSCO, and we had NIPSCO call in earlier and said that, you know, they're working through the best they can. So here's what I'd say. Obviously, there are literally thousands of people that have come into the region from all parts of the East Coast. They're coming in to help us. So I know it's frustrating right now, but I can assure you that that you guys are not forgotten. Councilman Starkey kind of rocked the boat this weekend, so I think you're going to be getting some attention. So hopefully you get some crews come in today and start assessing that damage. So I mean, again, you know, they'll be here as soon as they can. They're working their way through the communities, and I expect that you guys should start seeing some trucks here today or tomorrow. And again, this is all stuff that we want people to tell us what's going on. And I know your councilman might be listening, or I'll make sure to put him in touch. Why don't you just give me like a street? Just give me like a street. Don't give me your address. Just say what street or what cross street, something like that, so I can relay that to your councilman.
It's 510. The street is Coral Drive.
Coral Drive, and okay, so I'm going to pass it along to Councilman Starkey. Okay, so I'm going to pass that along to Councilman Starkey right now, and then at least maybe they'll put that on their radar that you've got a potentially dangerous situation there. So obviously, like I said, there's lots of people coming to help. Just be patient. There's crews coming, and they should be working their way through Dyer today. So anything else?
And it's like I was saying. This is not even about if we have power or we don't. This is a hazard issue. This is not about if we have power.
Yep, I'm literally texting Councilman Starkey right now, and hopefully they can at least put that on NIPSCO's radar of something that needs to be addressed. You know, again, there's a lot of things going on in Dyer right now. They have to get power back to the town hall. They have to get power back to the pumping stations and all that sort of thing. But I'm going to text your councilman right now and just let him know to put that on his radar, and hopefully someone will be there today to start looking at that for you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for calling in. Okay, 219-845-1100. We'll be here for a few more minutes. Let's take another call. Good morning, caller on the air.
Hey, Chuck, good thing the genius switch never is off. Tell that lady, hope you're listening right now, ma'am in Dyer. If you can get out of your block right now, get out right now. Park your car a block away or two, then you're covered. Just lock the car, nothing to it, and walk home. Then you can get your car anytime you need it, right?
So because that's you always start off with good advice. So let's start there. You have a valid point. If you live in a cul-de-sac,
I'm going to hang up to save you. I'm not going to hang up.
Let's explain though. You're making a very valid point. If at some point a bunch of trucks are going to show up in her neighborhood to start working on those lines, and she may be blocked in for a day or so. So that's a valid point. If you have,
or the pole may fall,
or the pole may fall,
in the middle of the night, and she can't get out.
You're right. So
get out now.
Good advice. If you're in a situation like that, if you can safely get your car out, go park a block or two away. So when the trucks come, or if that pole does fall, you can still get out, and it's not going to damage anything. Valid point. Okay, good point. Now this
good
is
advice.
That's good advice.
Good advice.
Agree. Okay.
That's expert advice, Chuck. That's 11 years of high school and 9 years of college.
Okay.
GED. Come on, bro.
So you can either hang up now and we say that was a good call, or we can just start going downhill. What would you like to do? Your call, sir.
Yeah. Just make sure if anybody's going to pick up food today in Gary, do not wear a NIPSCO shirt. You're a human target. I'm out, Chuck.
He just can't help himself. It's like he calls in, great advice, great point. You know, yeah, if you're in a situation like that, you know, park away from the line so that you don't get blocked in. Great advice. And then he comes in and does that. So, okay, let's take another. You're good? Okay. So with that, we are going to wrap up for the day. We appreciate it. I appreciate all the calls. Again, a lot of people frustrated. I mean, I saw a lot of stuff on Facebook where it's like, we saw crews in my neighborhood all day. They restored power across the street or the alley behind me. They're getting there. Again, it's just such a fluid situation. Bob called in. It's frustrating, and I get it. It's like one of those things. The power's on, or even in some cases, the power was on during the storm, and then they turned it off that night because they had to clear debris. We get it. It's frustrating, and like Jim said earlier, look, let's get through this week. People will be here all week on WJOB to keep you guys updated on what's going on. There's tons of resources for people that aren't gonna have power till later this week. Every community is doing their best. There's lots of resources. There's federal aid coming. There's all sorts of things happening. There's guys coming in from literally all parts of the country to come help you in your neighborhood. Just clear them a space. Make sure that your generator isn't backfeeding onto the grid so they can safely work. If there's anything, if you see trucks coming in your neighborhood and there's something they need to know, like, hey, just real quick, thanks for being here. Here's what you need to know. Like the lines go this way and there's trees down here, just anything that can help them. With anything that they need to know, just tell them and stay out of the way, let them work. They're doing their best. Hopefully by this time next week, we'll say, hey, everybody's got power and we can get back to complaining about all the normal things. But again, at the end of the day, we're going to keep hammering this home about communications, and we need to do better about communicating. We need a better hierarchy. I'm going to keep saying, I don't know who's in charge right now. What's the chain of command? Who do we go to for information? I don't know. So that's where we're at. So this is Chuck Pullen. Thank you for tuning in. Like I said, everybody will be back here all week, keeping you updated on the latest information, latest news. Thank you, Lynette, as always. Again, we are just a small cog, but everybody here at the radio station stepped up to do what we could to just keep you guys informed. And I think we've done, we're just very fortunate that power stayed on. It was an absolute miracle because we were able to just relay that information for the last week and keep you guys in the loop as well. So we appreciate everybody for tuning in. We'll be back next week. Thank you so much. Take care.
We've had some cars run into the barrier wall, not paying attention. They were on their phone.
Texting, scrolling. Yeah, it's bad.
Most often they be on their phones or they're just not paying attention. They can cause a crash.
We could stand on the side of the road and watch every other vehicle looking down into